and welcome to episode 53 of Some Like It Real. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Veronica.
And we're two cinephiles who love to talk movies.
We have weekly episodes discussing the newest films, creating lists and drafts, and keeping you updated on the latest movie headlines and awards races.
As a reminder, please like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms, which helps more people find the show.
And share it with any cinephiles in your life.
Ah, yes. Another day, another auction draft here at the podcast. Who is our topic today, Veronica?
Our exciting topic today is Ridley Scott. His new film, The Dog Stars, hits theaters this weekend, so we thought it'd be a perfect time to celebrate one of cinema's biggest filmmakers.
Almost 90 years old, been pumping out films for nearly 5 decades. What a gigantic career.
Yeah, The Dog Stars will mark his 30th feature film, and to think that only like a third of the movies are going to be drafted today is insane.
Speaking of insane, we are joined by one hell of a guest. To draft Ridley Scott films auction style with us is none other than Paul Rai. Paul, welcome to the podcast. Very excited to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing so great. I'm from my favorite movie, House of Gucci. How are you, Bryan and Veronica?
Wow, I can't believe we got Jared Leto on the pod.
Surprise
Oh
Jared
God.
Leto appearance. Yeah, Spare just conjured up inside my soul. Yeah. No, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you guys for having me on the pod. I'm a huge fan. And especially talking about my boy, Ridley Scott, the guy who doesn't care about historical accuracies or what other people think of him, an influencer, not a filmmaker. We're going to have a great time, I feel.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. We are thrilled to be doing this draft alongside you. It's probably going to get pretty wild. But before we begin, Bryan, would you like to explain the rules?
Yes, absolutely. So we will each have $1,000 to spend on putting together a team of 4 films totaling 12 movies in all. We will be drafting in traditional snake style, and if you fill up your team, you are forbidden from nominating any more films, even if it might be your turn to do so. Now, a very important factor to keep in mind, other than this being auction style, is that just because you pick a movie doesn't necessarily mean you get it. You get to nominate that film for the bidding.
Just going to say it, whoever goes first should absolutely bid on the counselor. That would be a missed opportunity.
Please never say that again, or else I'm going to have to look for another co-host. And with that out of the way, it is time to pick the draft order. I have our names on a wheel, wheelofnames.com. Thank you so much for not sponsoring this podcast. We very much appreciate you. The order of the wheels is Bryan, Veronica, and Paul. So I'm not going to ask around who wants to go first because you're just going to set yourself up for disappointment. So I'm just going to spin the wheel, and we will see what happens. The not rigged wheel.
Not
Here
at
we
all
go.
rigged. Yep.
It's not rigged. Never rigged.
Looks like...
Ooh.
Oh, maybe it's not rigged. Veronica.
We need to do an in-depth analysis on this. Where's an audit? We need an audit.
Yeah, I need some stats on what the wheel comes out with.
And next up will be rigged. It's rigged.
Wow.
It's going to be Paul.
Sandwiched
Bryan.
in.
Although I don't know. This has come up before, Bryan. Anytime you get accusations of it being rigged, it's decidedly not rigged. So I don't know. I think some reverse psychology is going on.
Crazy stuff. So the draft order today will be Veronica, Paul, and myself. So going around before we get into drafting these films, I want to pose the question of what does Ridley Scott mean to you? So Paul, as our guest, I'm going to let you answer that question first.
Would it be fair to say he's probably the best hit or miss director working today? Because for every masterpiece we can name, and we're certainly going to name them on this draft, there's House of Gucci, there's Exodus, Gods and Kings. I mean, the list kind of goes on to a point where you're wondering, is Ridley Scott on or off when it comes to his upcoming film? And with The Dog Stars, I don't know what mode he's in. And, Bryan, I've always said this to you. A Ridley Scott film lives or dies by the script. And it depends on whatever script he's working with, because he doesn't write any of his movies. No writing credit whatsoever on none of his films. And so it's kind of interesting to see Ridley Scott through the lens of the legacy, the ethos, the kind of impact he's had with movies like Alien and Blade Runner. But then we were kind of stuck getting movies like Napoleon and Gladiator 2, and kind of feels, is this the Ridley Scott everyone grew up with? What happened to the 90s Ridley Scott or the early 2000s with like the first Gladiator movie or Black Hawk Down. I kind of feel like we're getting the late stages of a man kind of not caring what he makes, and I kind of like that about him because he's 88 years old. He just wants to make movies. He's got a limited amount of time on Earth, sadly. He just wants to make whatever he can, even if they're bombing left and right. And most of the time his movies are bombing, which is kind of astounding that he's maintained a career for almost 50 years. So I don't know. I love him as curmudgeon as he is, and somehow I don't really feel emotionally resonant to his films like a Sofia Coppola or a P.T. Anderson. And yet I can't deny the level he's always operating when it comes to his films. The level of craftsmanship is kind of impeccable. So in a way, I'm kind of glad he hits or misses because he feels impenetrable. Like no one can bring him down. Not even life or box office totals can bring him down. I kind of respect him for that.
You know, that was all beautifully said. And I don't even know if I have anything to add with that. But Veronica, do you have anything to add? Like, what's your relationship to Ridley Scott? Would you agree with Paul saying that maybe he is the greatest hit or miss director that we've ever been graced with?
Yeah, definitely agree. Beautifully said, Paul. I totally agree with all of that. Yeah, it is a very interesting career that he has these, maybe handful of stone cold masterpieces that, changed film history, that are, go down in as favorites. He's got awards recognition, like all of those sort of stats are there. And those movies are certainly beloved. And then, I'd say there's a tier of sort of, entertaining fare, like fun but flawed, or at least interesting, and then just some pretty much flops, and that is interesting, and I think that it's impressive that I think you can kind of, if there is any through line in his movies, like they tend to be pretty ambitious, pretty epic, and that's in today's day and age, with the kinds of films and the way that the film industry goes lately, I think it's really impressive that there is still someone making movies on a pretty big scale, and trying different things, and going across different sort of genres, even if there are certain ones that he returns to time and again. But I think that he's an interesting filmmaker. I don't think that there's anyone really like him today that can make these movies on a huge scale, some hitting great and some not so much. So I think that we're lucky to have him still working and putting some interesting work out there, even if it's not going to all be hits.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that both of you said. And he is one of the most fascinating filmmakers that we've ever been graced with. And yeah, Paul said it terrifically. He really is probably the greatest hit or miss filmmaker that we've ever had. Because when Ridley Scott hits, it's not like oh, it's good but not great. No, he like really hits it out of the ballpark. But when he misses, oh, it's quite a miss, quite frankly. But there's a lot of great films underneath it. There's a lot of terrible films, but again, there's nobody out there like him. And the fact that this guy is almost 90 years old, pumping out these films with these massive budgets and this big epic scale, I feel like most people at that age would not even do stuff that he's doing right now. And I commend him truly for not giving a shit about what people say about his films, regardless of how they fare critically or financially or what have you. He's continuing to put out really fascinating work. He works with many incredible actors and other various filmmakers. So even if the last few years he hasn't put out a winner for me, I still do get intrigued and interested whenever I see Ridley Scott directing a film, because I know that even if it seems like he's phoning it in, you could tell that some effort is being put there. So I really commend him for continuing to put out work even at this late stage of his career. So I am a fan of him, even though there are times where I'm not a fan of him. But overall, I think he has a lot of winners under his belt. And I'm really excited to draft alongside you two today, just to see, like, films that maybe I think are misses, you guys think are hits, or films that I think are hits and you guys think are misses. So I'm really interested to see how this draft goes.
Totally.
So without further ado, shall we begin the draft? And Veronica, you get to put the first film on the board.
Going first. Only happened a handful of times. Very exciting. It's interesting going first with an auction draft because you don't just automatically get the pick outright. So I'm trying to decide if I want to nominate something that I definitely want or something that's just sort of upper tier-ish. Let's see. I guess I'll go for something that is in the upper tier, though maybe not my absolute number one pick overall. I'll go ahead and nominate Gladiator here for $100. This is the Best Picture winner. I rewatched it in anticipation of Gladiator 2 when that came out about 2 years ago. And this is just a really solid, exciting, like I was saying, ambitious epic. And I think Russell Crowe is fantastic in the lead. This is, probably one of his greatest performances that he's most known for, most iconic for. Joaquin Phoenix as the villain is just so squirrely and weird and great. And it's ambition. It's sword and sandals. And I think it's kind of something that's pretty much anyone could enjoy. I think that it's a really crowd pleasing, rollicking kind of movie. Something where you get to follow this man on his journey throughout the history of his life and everything. And I think that I had seen it a long time ago. When I rewatched it a couple of years ago, I was like, this still holds up. This totally slaps. It's a really, really solid film for it to be one of his most known, one of Russell Crowe's most known. I definitely think it holds up to that.
Wow. I mean, Gladiator is interesting because I agree with everything you said in terms of its technical craftsmanship and the performances between Crow and Phoenix, and obviously the cultural impact it's had in movie culture. Are You Not Entertained is still quoted to this day for a reason, and it won Best Picture. So very great way to start off the bat with the pretty ambitious, bold project that Ridley Scott will always be known for, no matter what. You can quote Alien and Blade Runner, but a lot of people will probably say Gladiator at the top of their head. However, I don't know if I would put it in my top 5 Ridley Scott movies. It's one of those movies I respect and admire, but I don't love. Like, I'm not going to take a bullet for if I was in combat, in a way. But I do want to continue this bit because there is something fascinating about how it's impacted movie culture, how in a way we're in the summer of the Odyssey, another sword and sandal historical epic that kind of Gladiator jump started in the beginning of the 21st century, that audiences are still flocking to in greater numbers, you could say, than they did in Gladiator. But it's really interesting, the legacy it's had, and the kind of it's funny, Ridley Scott still hasn't won an Oscar. He could have been a producer on this and won Best Picture, and yet was not a producer, and so he kind of went Oscarless that night, and kind of a bummer deal he got out of the short end of the stick. So I'll raise it to $130. I want to keep this going a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same sentiment as Paul, where I do really like Gladiator, and I completely agree with you, Veronica, about the filmmaking of it all and the performances. Joaquin Phoenix, in particular, is spectacular in this, and honestly would have been a really cool Oscar winner that night. And I do like Russell Crowe's Best Actor win. It's not the kind of win that you would expect for an Oscar, but I do think that with this stage of Russell Crowe's career, where he was nominated for 3 years back-to-back, and he almost won the following year, and that's a whole other discussion that we could talk about down the road. But yeah, I really like the movie overall. It's not quite one of my favorites, but I do very much enjoy it, and I'll raise the bid to 150. I'm very curious to see how high this bid goes for this movie, because like you guys said, this is a very important entry in Ridley Scott's filmography, because it did win Best Picture. Yes, like Paul said, he was nominated for director but walked home Oscarless, and it is kind of wild to think about that he could have had one if he had produced the movie, but nope, he just opted to direct it.
Yeah, I'll raise it to 170. And shout out to the very cinematic Wheat holding. That's one of the the Wheat should have gotten a supporting nomination.
That's funny.
I do get teary-eyed at the end when he's seeing his family at the end after he's killed Phoenix's character. Like, for it, as grand and epic it is, and as bold as it becomes, it's still rooted and centered in an emotional core of Crowe's character, just kind of wanting to return home, especially after the fact that his family has been killed mercilessly, and the kind of betrayal he's felt and being this prisoner, and kind of the cat and mouse game of these Roman elites. It's kind of just a rags to riches classic hero's tale, and yet there's enough maudlin sentimentality that kind of gets you in the heart. Hans Zimmer and Lisa Gerald's music compositions really just kind of hit you home. So you said 170, or what was it, 150?
Yeah, 170.
Let's do 190. I'm kind of close. I'm close to that 200 mark. I'm just not quite there, because I'm not like, I would give it a 4 out of 5, and I know people love Gladiator. Like, this is their there's always a funny YouTube comment of women cry in Titanic and men cry in Gladiator, which first of all sexist, and second of all, I've cried in Gladiators and Titanic. So come
We
on,
can all cry at both, yeah.
you can cry at both movies. Let's be inclusive here. So, but it is one of those factors of many people love this film, and maybe perhaps a lot of people I feel like are getting into it late in their like adult years, where I kind of grew up with it. Like, I always saw it on the shelf of Blockbuster, that poster of Russell Crowe looking ominous in the shadow and looking kind of gruff and squirrely. It's like, it's so iconic in your head that you can't really get rid of it. But I never had that attachment to some of the films we'll probably end up talking about. But I'll cap it at 190.
As tempting as it is to try to raise the bid, I think I'm going to let it be duked out between you two.
Okay.
Gotcha. I will go for 200.
It's yours. I can't will myself. I'm trying to will myself. I can't do it.
Yeah, you got some planning to do. Yeah, no, I'm happy to take that. Yeah, yeah, great point, Paul. It's very like, it's huge, big archetypal storytelling, but through the filmmaking, through the acting and everything, it definitely feels more super personal, super emotional, and that's hard to do within this larger than life story. So yeah, and I think Ridley Scott is good at that. And a bunch of the stuff that we're going to talk about.
It's crazy, too, that this film won Best Picture at multiple guilds and organizations, but director wasn't won anywhere. I think that's kind of crazy when you think about.
The best director that year was wild in of itself, because Ang Lee was technically leading everyone with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, because I think he won the DGA as well. And then Steven Soderbergh, I think it was that 1-2 punch of Traffic and Aaron Brockovich, where just like a lot of people had a goodwill. It's like, let's give Steven Soderbergh a Best Directing Oscars. So chaotic year for Best Director.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. All right, Paul, it's time for you to put your first film on the board. So what are you going to be putting on the table?
This is so hard, because there's one movie I wanted to put on originally, but now there's another movie I want to put on just for a punchline sort of manner.
Uh-oh.
So I'm wondering which one I should do first. Maybe I'll get the punchline out of the way. Yeah, I'll get the punchline out of the way, because there's a lot of great masterpieces we can build up to. Veronica, you had mentioned in your opening thoughts about We'll Never Speak of the Counselor Again. I'm sorry. I am a counselor head.
Oh my God.
For $1, I'm gonna put up The Counselor.
No fucking way.
Ridley Scott's 2013 ingenious, bleak masterpiece that, okay, look, I'll just say it right off the bat. When I first saw this, I was 19 years old, 2013. I hated it. I thought it was overindulgent. It was pretentious. It was full of itself. I texted my friends and complained how much I hated it. And maybe it's due to my age, and maybe it's due to my cynicism, but over the years, as I've revisited the film, I've just become more and more in love with its nihilistic themes of determinism, of fatalism, of how we are never going to escape our choices and they'll always come back to haunt us. It's kind of part of the Ridley Scott lore of how much humans can inflict pain onto each other through historical epics or science fiction fantasy films. Like, it's always about human beings being cruel and evil to each other. And The Counselor is one of his rare contemporary movies, takes place in modern day, that kind of fits within that lineage, but also the biggest star is not Michael Fassbender, it's not Penelope Cruz, it's not Javier Bardem, it's not Brad Pitt, it's Cormac McCarthy, the screenwriter, who famed novelist of the great modernist American literature, wrote Blood Meridian, The Road, No Country for Old Men, The Orchid Keeper. I mean, his script is the big star of the film, and that's also why people hated it, why I hated it originally, because I had never read a Cormac McCarthy novel at that point at 19 years old. And so since then, I have read some of his novels, and I've rewatched The Counselor multiple times. It's not a movie for everyone. I'm not saying it is, and I don't expect you guys to want to draft it, but just for the sake of conversation, that's why I only put it up for $1. So it's not really that high of a risk for you guys, because I probably will end up taking it for my own benefit. But I love this movie. It's dark, it's messed up, it's kind of sad and tragic, and it's also bleakly hilarious in a way you're watching people dig their own holes and you can't really do anything to stop them, but just watch them mess up their lives. I don't know. There's just something about it that I keep gravitating to it over and over again. And so I know you mentioned it as a punchline, Veronica, but I can't help it. But like, I actually love the punchline. I think it's a great film.
I don't have any words. I don't even know what to say, quite frankly. I kind of figured that something chaotic was going to happen and Paul was going to wreak havoc, but I did not think that this was going to be what would happen in the first round, mind you.
Yep. The first round.
I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of speechless right now.
I saw this a long time ago, and I don't even really remember it that well. It was not one that I was gonna revisit. But I'm glad to hear you speak about it, and yeah, maybe it's due for a resurgence. I don't know.
The counselor heads are out there. We're growing in numbers.
You know, I the same sentiment as Veronica. I saw this when it came out. I went with my dad, and me and him were like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" We were just
I was that person.
We were just so unbelievably bored by it, and I was so excited for this because Ridley Scott and this cast, and I remember the trailer looked fucking sick, and then Cameron Diaz is humping the car, and I'm like, "Wow, this is real cinema." But I haven't thought about it since it came out, and I will be upfront in saying that there have been times throughout the years where I'm like, maybe I should give this another watch. Because I remember when I first befriended Paul, he had said like, oh, The Counselor is great. And I'm like, The Counselor is great? What? But now I'm kind of like, I think you're convincing me. I think you might have put me in the right direction of giving it another go. Because it has been 13 years. It's been a long time. My taste in film has completely changed. So for all we know, I can watch this and go, The Counselor, misunderstood masterpiece.
I don't know if it'll happen right away, because you'll still have to get through the opaque, kind of dense monologuing that happens throughout the film.
Fair enough.
But, you know, it's interesting because he started this film before his brother Tony Scott had passed away, who unfortunately passed away. And when I was watching this movie like last year, and I was thinking about Tony Scott, I was kind of thinking of how this kind of feels like Ridley's response to that, even though he started this production way before that happened. But when I watched it, it's a movie about how human beings have so much pent-up rage and energy. They want to lash out, and yet they have no control over the circumstances of their lives. Like Michael Fassbender starts off this drug trade as a LARP. He thinks he can get away scot-free and just gain, a couple million extra bucks out of it because it seems like a fun little side gig. But it escalates into this disastrous results that get so many people killed unnecessarily. And one of my favorite scenes in the film is when he's pleading to a fellow drug lord who can try to ameliorate the situation. And the drug lord's like, look, you can't stop this. Like, it's not a personal, it's the business transaction. It's your suffering and the loved ones you have is a transactional commodity. That's all there is to it. There's no personal stake in it. It's the way it is in this world. And I kind of love movies that kind of go against the archetype of it has to have a happy ending or it has to resolve itself. The movie doesn't really get resolved. Cameron Diaz, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen The Counselor, she's the kind of orchestrator behind all the happenings behind the scenes, and she gets away with everything with the money while everyone else is left in shambles or decapitated, like Brad Pitt with the bolito around his neck. That's what a crazy ass death. The bolito that of a wire that just keeps whirling around your neck until it decapitates. Like, sick stuff. I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah, you're right. I do like a movie that goes there and is willing to be bleak and leave everyone feeling kind of numb or nihilistic or whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
we need movies like that. So yeah, maybe the resurgence is ready to happen. I'm not gonna bid on it, Brian. Are you gonna bid on it?
That's fair.
You can have it for $1.
For $1, I get it.
That's
what we've had, like, unexpected picks, but they usually come at the end of the draft. Usually we do all the big stuff first, but I like your strategy here.
Yeah, very interesting strategy here. Okay, so now we're to me. Well, I'm gonna go with a big one. We're gonna go back to the topic of the big ones, the giants of Ridley Scott's filmography, and I am going to put Alien on the table, which to me, this is his magnum opus. This is the best thing, in my opinion, that he's ever put out. I've gone on record many times. We've talked about the Alien franchise a handful of times on this podcast and everything. It's not a franchise that I necessarily celebrate and everything, although I do like a handful of entries in this franchise. To me, and I know that there's a frequent debate of if this is better or if Aliens, which James Cameron directed, is better. I think they're both 5-star movies. this is the one that I gravitate towards the most. And I am not a big horror guy. Like, horror is not one of my favorite genres, but this movie really gets under my skin. It unsettles me, and I do think the claustrophobicness of it and the space setting of it makes it all the more frightening in ways that you simply wouldn't expect from a sci-fi film that also is a horror film in disguise. You have a wonderful cast at the forefront, and then you have Sigourney Weaver as like one of the quintessential final girls. And I have seen this movie so many times, although every time I watch it, it really is hard to sit through because of how haunting and terrifying it is. But I love it very, very much. To me, I wouldn't even consider it my number one favorite Ridley Scott film, but I think it's the best thing that he's directed. And it was so early in his career, too. So, like, really from the early stages of his career, he launched into the film world saying, yeah, keep an eye on me because I'm going to give you guys a lot of really good stuff. So, Alien is going to be my first film on the table, and I'm going to start the bid. Let's do $150 for this one.
$200.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna bid as well. 225 for this. Because yeah, this is, I not to give anything away. I think that this probably is my number one favorite movie of his. Like everything that you said, Brian. It's sci-fi horror. It's essentially like once the alien is on the ship and everything. It's essentially a haunted house movie. Just taking place in space and in this. I think it's the design of it is so incredible and I think pretty groundbreaking at the time. Like the spaceship that is like grimy and cramped rather than like a more pristine sort of image that we had of like space, the spaceships and the future and everything. This is like a space world that is like ravaged by corporate greed. These are like working class people who are being thrown to the wolves for a corporation's interest. All of that, and the Ash saying he admires the creature's ruthlessness and everything, and how that reflects. Like it's just a really brilliant movie that's got a lot going on top of just being like a perfectly executed genre movie. So yeah, 225.
And it has one of my favorite posters of all time, that shot with the caption, "In space, no one can hear you scream." Like, I have such vivid memories of one of my best friends at college. He had a gigantic poster of this in his dorm, and I was just, like, so infatuated by this movie. Like, I had watched it in high school for the first time, and I was really, really blown away by it. But then I revisited it in one of my film classes in college, and I just had a whole new perspective of it, and it gets better for me every time I go back to it. I just think that it's one of the great examples of how to blend sci-fi and horror. And again, when you think of great films that are set primarily in one location and the usage of space, especially such a tight space like this movie, it's very, very effectively handled. And it just blows my mind too that this was, I think if I'm not mistaken, this was only his second film that he directed, and that's insane. To me, that's just monumental that he showcased. Oh, hey, I don't have the sophomore slump. If anything, like my sophomore outing is like one of my greatest achievements ever. So yeah. What was the last bid for this?
I said 225.
Let's go with 275. This is a big one. This is a very big one.
This is a big one. I love this film so much. I love the Alien franchise as a whole. I think every entry is distinctly unique and specific to it, tailor-made by the director by themselves, like David Fincher or the guy who did Omelet. I can never remember his name. But, Alien Resurrection is a weird-ass movie that I don't think anyone else could have made but that guy, that freaky little French guy. So I love the Alien franchise.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Junet. Thank you. Thank you, Jean-Pierre, for that crazy humanoid hybrid at the ending. That's something. I don't know where that came from, but that's right. Josh Whedon was a co-writer of that film. Ooh,
yeah, yes, he
that
was.
did not age well. Yikes-a-roo. But for Alien, at least, it's such an impactful film. It's changed science fiction and horror forever. No other filmmaker can say they're going to outdo Alien in space because it's already been done by Ridley Scott on his second film. The production design, the creature design, the cast. I mean, Sigourney Weaver, very unassuming. When you think of Sigourney Weaver, we have this built-up image of her as a badass. But when you watch her in this film, she's kind of like the scrawny, kind of bookwormish, by the book type of leadership that, you know, people kind of rebel against until she's the last one standing. And you're kind of amazed at how she's managed to withstand all the horror and the horrifying viscera of violence by this alien creature. And she's a survivalist. And that's what I think we love about Ripley, is how she manages to trust her instincts and her gut instincts of, I don't trust this thing. We need to do contamination protocols. I don't know if we should, you know, be so flamboyant or not flamboyant, like, flippant about protocols and, you know, letting Ash come onto the ship and whatnot. It's just, I love her character so much. I love her performance. I love this film. Also, just any Ridley Scott draft, you want Alien on your team. So if the last bid was 275, I guess we got to go to 300. What's our uncomfortable break point? I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Let's raise it up to 315.
Yeah, you're right to discuss. You know, obviously Sigourney Weaver. This was her breakthrough. I think this was only one of her first couple movies as well.
I think so, yeah.
Which is incredible. And I'm pretty sure at this point she was, you know, one of the lesser known people in the cast. Like Tom Skerritt, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt. They were all like better known. So I think they play with that to
this was her
audiences
first
at the
like
time.
major role, because
Yeah.
before this the only thing that she was in was Annie Hall, where she had a very small role.
That's
Right.
right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it's, you know, you're playing with audience expectations at that point. Like, I'm sure it was a shock that she was going to be the final girl, and you know, I think that it's, I don't know if this is apocryphal or not, but that the role was originally conceived as a man and then essentially cast her without changing much about the role, which is you know, certainly at that time I think that's a progressive way to look at how you're gonna represent gender on this, you know, large scale action movie. Like, to have the fact that she was a woman and that was a fairly neutral thing about her. You know, I think we've complicated ideas of that since, and so where femininity can be an aspect that is not seen as weakness and all of that stuff. But like this is one example of this type of you know, feminine lead of a movie, feminine leader of this ship, and you know, the ways in which she's undermined throughout, and still, you know, stay strong and is ultimately our hero of the movie, and has, you know, some of the most iconic things that come out of that, both in this and Aliens. So yeah, it's just really incredible as something that completely put her on the map. So what was the most recent bid?
315.
315. I'll go 350.
Fucking hell.
It's getting up there.
That's the thing. Like, I'm willing to fork over. I already only spent $1, so I'm still
True.
kind of in the green. So I'm willing to go to uncomfortable lengths to have Alien. Also, Brian, you talk about the poster. I remember the teaser trailer. It's just an egg cracking, and then you have that.
Oh,
it's like
so
that
good.
scared me when I saw it. I think I was like 12 or 13 on YouTube, and I was just like
Does
looking at
anyone
movie
remember
trailers.
the great movie ride at Disney World?
Oh yeah.
So
R.I.P.
there was in the queue before you get on the ride, they would play like some trailers for some of the movies that they would highlight on the ride. And I remember as a kid, they would play like an Alien trailer. I don't remember if it's the same trailer or a different one, but I remember like as like a 6-year-old, shit fucking terrified me as a kid. I was like, this is way too much. We're at Disney World, the happiest place on earth. Why are you trying to scar children that are online on this ride?
And that part of the ride was so cool too. Just the
Oh
alien,
my god,
like,
it was so
jump
cool.
scares popping out at you. Amazing.
I
That's
hate
funny.
that they closed that ride, because by the time that ride closed, like I had finally started really getting into cinema. And like if that ride was still there, I would know pretty much all the movies that are referenced there, because I've seen all of them. But now the ride's not there anymore. Instead, some stupid Mickey and Minnie ride.
I'm gonna stop you right there. All due respect to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, that is a very good ride, but I wish they
but
could have coexisted.
The great movie ride is
The great movie ride was incredible.
exactly.
I mean, it's funny because Disney now owns Alien, so maybe we'll get.
You know what? That's so true. It's so funny that they've like had all these rides based on all these properties, but now they own all of them, like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Avatar. It's crazy. It's absolutely wild.
Own it all soon enough.
Exactly. What was the last bid for this?
375.
Let's go to 400.
Okay. Oh my god, I'm like, I already spent 200 on my last one. I'll throw 425 out there.
Oh, good God.
I'll
Go
up it.
up. Go ahead,
No.
Paul.
I was gonna say 450.
Fuck. 460.
I'll leave it to you too.
Oh, Brian. I don't want our friendship impacted by this, but
By this fake money.
I really want Alien so bad. Look, I'll ask you this: you said it's not your favorite. What is it about Alien that makes it stand out apart from other Ridley Scott films for you?
Why do you hate Alien?
Yeah, why do you hate Alien, Brian?
The thing is, like, I kind of separate favorite and best, and to me, this is the best thing that he's done. It's just that there's a particular film that I've gone back to more times than this one, so I consider that to be like my absolute favorite of his. But you this is the thing that started it all for him. Yeah, it wasn't his first film, but this is what literally put him on the map. And it's like, it's a crucial film, and I think it's one of the few Ridley Scott films that pretty much everybody likes.
Okay, so Gladiator's already off the board. We've got Alien on deck. There's probably one more Ridley Scott true masterpiece that's still up for grabs. So in the interest of just kind of maintaining the suspense, what was the last bid? 460? I'll let you have it for 460.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So
Very well
almost
thought.
half my budget. Honestly, though, like, it's a good
That's
one
worth
to
it, yeah.
drop the money on. I think there's like two movies that are going to be the big money spenders. I mean, Gladiator has already been taken off and everything, but I do think that there is another one that's going to be big. And I'm wondering if I should draft that next or if I should wait and go with something else that I love. This is really tough.
What's an underrated Ridley Scott that you don't think people talk about?
I feel like for that, I could save that for later. I feel like there's a particular film that I really love that I think you're a fan of, Paul. I think we've talked about it in the past. I'm not sure where Veronica stands on it, but we'll get to that if it gets mentioned today. Hopefully it does. But for the next film I'm going to bid on, I'm not going to go with the big genre spectacle that a lot of people probably think I'm going to mention next. I'll save that for later. But instead, I'm going to go for one of his more grounded films, one of his more laid-back films, if you even want to call it that. So my next film that I am going to draft, I'm looking up, where is the year? I have to make sure I get this right. I don't want to get this wrong. Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, we are going to go into the 90s, and I am going to put on the board Thelma and Louise, which is my favorite film that he's directed. This is my favorite film from him. You know, Ridley Scott, I've realized this, he has a lot of incredible female protagonists in his films, especially early on in his career. And if you want to talk about one of the greatest duos ever put to screen, you have to have Thelma and Louise on that list because, my God, Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis, together and separately delivering some of the best work of their careers. And it's hard to pick which person I prefer more because they're both so incredible in their roles and everything. But I love a buddy comedy. I love a road trip movie. And I also love a film that deals with crime and suspense. And the places that this film goes, it's absolutely wild. And it amazes me, too, that, you know, I didn't think that Ridley Scott would do a film like this. I'm very surprised to know that the guy who made like Alien and Gladiator made Thelma and Louise, because when you look at everything else in his filmography, it's not the kind of film you generally expect from him. But for me, I always enjoy when he does the more scaled back mid-budget projects, and I think that this film is a true masterclass across the board, from its acting, its directing, which he did get a Best Director nom for. Somehow this wasn't nominated for Best Picture, which is crazy. But the screenplay did win the Oscar, very deservedly so. It's a wonderful screenplay, capturing friendship and femininity. And I think that all around, it's one of the greatest achievements in his entire filmography. And even though the ending was spoiled for me before I saw the movie, I still got so emotional when we got to that point because I loved following the journey of these two characters so much. So yeah, this is one of his absolute high points of his filmography, and it is my favorite thing that he's ever put out. I own the Criterion. I revisited it about a year or two ago, and first of all, stunning Criterion. Highly recommend the 4K, but just a stunning movie all around. So I'm going to start the bid. We'll start it off pretty light because I definitely want to go into length talking about this masterful film. I'm going to start the bid at $50.
Yeah, I was in the middle of a rewatch for this when I ran out of time because we had to log on for this recording. I had about 45 minutes left, but I know how it ends. So this is easily my second favorite movie behind Alien, and I think they are both 5-star masterpieces. Yeah, I have loved this movie since I saw it. I don't remember. I saw it back a long time ago, and then rewatched it several times since. Yeah, definitely agree, Brian, that it's for as tough of a movie it can be at times, how it gets kind of intense and dark. It is a very rewatchable movie. Just this current rewatch, I was kind of taken aback by how much, even after the crime occurs and they are on the run and everything, and they've already, they've been through some shit. It's like there are still so many little moments of like, of Thelma sunbathing next to the pool, and Louise is like, we gotta go, and they're like singing along to music in the car together, like just so many moments of their friendship, their bond. And you said, like, I don't even know which to call out as the better performance or anything. They are like completely intertwined. They're completely symbiotic. Like the ways in which Thelma is sort of naive and trusting of people, and Louise is much more jaded. And that's just, again, it is kind of archetypal storytelling, but these people are so specific. The performances are so brilliant. I just really enjoy seeing them together. And then the way that the patriarchy can kind of like come in and divide them a little bit when she's Louise kind of throws some blame at Thelma for what happened in an instance, and yet they still they kind of repair from that. Like it's just so brilliant how it handles this female relationship, and the way that the world is just it's angled against them. They're already in somewhat to varying degrees in oppressive relationships, and then of course this horrible attempted rape happens, and it's just the way that they almost have to turn to this life of crime, and that's the first time they kind of feel some degree of freedom and belonging. And it's just an interesting way for such a conventional movie. Like it's really digging up some deep shit about what it feels like to be a woman existing in the world. And also Brad Pitt is in this, and another like kind of huge breakthrough performance. Just looks incredible. Very, very amazing. Yes, I will raise the bid. What did you say?
$50.
I'll raise to 100.
Yeah, this is a great coming of age film. Brian, I know we love talking about coming of age films.
Yes, we do.
Thelma and Louise. And it's funny how at the beginning it's kind of lighthearted at first until it pivots to that horrifying rape sequence by the bar, and yet the way it kind of escalates, it's still about these two women who are kind of rediscovering themselves in a way that they hadn't been able to under normal traditional societal standards. And it took this kind of horrifying traumatic experience to kind of rediscover their lust and love for life in a way that kind of leads to their demise, sadly. But in a way, it's a kind of thrilling way to cap your life off, especially with the whole state chasing you. You have Harvey Keitel, who I think is a great addition to the cast, kind of as like a measured lawman who's trying to understand why these women are doing what they're doing, but at the same time has maybe some ounce of empathy or sympathy in a way. Like it's far more measured than you would maybe suspect a different director would tackle. And yeah, Ridley Scott for sure, especially after coming from a decade in the 80s where some financial disappointments, like Blade Runner was obviously a big money loss for him, and I think to kind of come roaring back, this was his first director nomination. It kind of reestablished himself as just a maverick filmmaker who kind of do any genre. Like we said, Brian, as long as he has a good script, which this is an incredible Oscar worthy script, he can just make magic. It's just kind of insane to see him kind of stretch his bona fides from the science fiction to this road trip movie of the American Midwest. It's like a modern Western in a way, just done through a more feminist lens. And I just love that, how he just embraces it. He doesn't really kind of rough out the edges or try to minimize the impact. He kind of really lets it fly off, and I kind of enjoy it for that. So I'll go up to let's go 150. Yeah, 150.
I like the term flying off. I like that.
Well, and it's funny, you said that was ruined for you. I got that ruined by The Simpsons until I didn't know what it was referencing, though, until I saw Thelma and Louise. I'm like, oh, That's where that ending comes from.
I
From The
wish I
Simpsons.
wish I remember what ruined it for me. I know it was a TV show, but I don't remember what it was. It probably
Yeah.
could have been The Simpsons for all we know.
It was parodied for sure.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
referenced. It's such an iconic ending.
I really cannot believe that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. That was the Silence of the
Crazy.
Lambs year, and it
Yeah.
absolutely would not have been that, and it shouldn't have, certainly. Silence of the Lambs winning is one of the great winners ever. But, like, do we really need Bugsy in there? Do we really need the Prince of Tides? Like,
Well, funnily enough, I think it was Beauty and the Beast that kind of overtook it because that was a big shock. Animated film nominated for Best Picture.
yeah, but I would not remove that.
Oh no, I would not remove it either.
That's one of the best Picture nominees
Oh
of
no,
all time.
goated nomination.
I
yeah.
would keep Silence of the Lambs, Beauty and the Beast, and JFK and remove Bugsy and Prince of Tides, and then I would put in Boys in the Hood, which did get a director nom as well, and Thelma and Louise, and that to me would be an all-timer Best Picture lineup.
We need a time machine. We need to fix it.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
I do love that both Sarandon and Davis were nominated Best Actress. You would not see that happen
that's
nowadays when we
awesome.
talk about category fraud because they are dual lead performances. Like, I'm so glad they both were acknowledged and not one was cast out to like supporting actress. Like, no, they're the leads of the film. You nominate them
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
lead
someone
actress.
would get frauded into supporting now.
Who?
Yeah.
Here, let me pose a question. If this came out now, who do you think would be put in supporting?
It wouldn't make any sense because they are both leads.
Well, that's the thing, but the Academy would do something like that, though.
Maybe Davis because Sarandon
Davis
was
would be
maybe
supporting. Yeah.
bigger
Yeah.
star.
Yeah, probably Davis at that regard. What was the last bid?
150.
Let's raise it to 175.
I'll raise to 200.
Ooh. I love how fun this movie is. As like dark as it gets, it's such a fun, thrilling movie. Like you could watch this, you show it to anyone, and they can watch it at any point, and it's so enjoyable, despite
Yeah.
how, horrifying it gets because you love these characters. You don't want anything bad to happen to them. But like when they explode that tanker truck at the end, it's like, yeah, like wreak havoc on the
So fucking
stage.
sick.
Yeah, it's so
So
awesome
sick.
to watch. It's so cool.
It's so
Oh my
cathartic.
God.
Yeah. Even the ending for how horrific it is and sad, but it's cathartic. It's like it just feels
fucking
emotionally true.
badass ending. It's just such a badass. It's so baller.
So baller.
Oh man.
I
What was the
may
last
have.
bid?
Yeah. What was the last bid?
Did
Was
I
it
go to
200?
200? Yeah.
Paul, you were gonna say something. Are you tapping out?
I think I'm tapping out. I love this movie though. Like top 5 Ridley Scott. Like I love this, but I've got my wallet savoring up for some other stuff. But
Fair enough. 210,
I'll go 225.
230,
240.
250,
275.
280.
This is like what they're like we've talked about. Ridley Scott is a very fascinating director, very huge in cinema. This is like I don't feel super passionately about too many others that we're going to talk about. This is like one of the big ones for me. What did you say last?
280,
290.
295.
God damn. Let's see. What if? Well, you've spent a lot too because you got Alien. I spent 200 on Gladiator. 300.
310.
320.
325.
350.
What'd you say?
350.
Sorry, I got struck for a second.
You already spent 460. Better watch your wallet. You don't want Brad Pitt to come and steal it.
you can still buy a wallet. I'm not doing anything with it.
Oh God. 400.
400?
400 was the last bid.
No, I said 350.
350. Oh fuck. 375.
Fuck it, 400.
410.
God damn. Is there anything else that I need to save, or do I just go all out for this one?
Yeah, are you gonna go all out for this one?
I'm like, yeah. Why not? What did you say?
410.
450.
Fine.
Yes.
Fine.
Wow.
Thelma and Louise beats Alien for price tag.
475. Is that what you got it for?
What did it? No, 450. Did I say? I think.
450. Okay.
It's not bad. 2 movies, and you still have a little over $400 left.
Yeah. And two that
Wait, hold
I'm
on.
very
How
happy
much
with.
does she have? So that's 4. She has 350 remaining.
Oh, well. That's why.
Math is not our strongest suit.
Yeah, this is why I'm conservative with my money, because I feel like I'm always losing it 2 times more than what I'm spending.
Oh god, that was quite a long bid. I would have happily gone up, but I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Sorry.
I can't do that. No, that really is just one of his best films ever. It's so incredible. Like, I feel like for people too that like dog on him, I feel like this is another one that a lot of people generally like. So
Yeah, I don't know anyone who dislikes
Yeah.
this movie or even
Yeah.
has any major criticisms.
yeah, like I feel like this and Alien might be like the two films that 90% of people love. So yeah.
You're probably like that Harlan guy if you don't like this movie that tries to rape Gina Davis.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
probably...
All right, Paul, back to you. What is the next film you're going to put on the board?
This is such a Paul-coded movie, again, like The Counselor, but I think Bryan and maybe Veronica, you might tap into this. Probably the most rewatched movie of all the Ridley Scott movies I've ever watched. I'm going with 2001's Black Hawk Down. Just the
Gotcha.
unbelievable like action extravaganza, even though it is one of the most heartbreaking war films, just technically on every level, from sound design, cinematography, film editing. I can't imagine what a nightmare this movie must have been to shoot, let alone edit in the editing bay. And Ridley Scott just operating on top tier form with an all-star ensemble cast of a lot of youngins. You know, you got Josh Hartnett, Eric Bana, it's like Ewan McGregor, Tom Sizemore. He's not a youngin at that point, you know. But like, you know, Sam Shepard is also in this movie. Who's the guy who plays Draco's dad?
Jason
actor.
Isaacs,
Jason
baby.
Jason Isaacs. He's in this movie. Like, there are many great. Was it Tom Hardy's in this movie? Such an
Tom Hardy.
insane cast of actors that we would go to love and see in other movies. But just Black Hawk Down. I saw this when I was like 8 or 9. It messed me up for life.
Oh my god.
You know, when I know I wore out that VHS to the point where it was unwatchable, because even as a kid, as horrifying and graphic it was, it's like one of those like introduction to like war fixes where like obviously the American propaganda military was doing its magic on me, although I never enlisted. So it's one of those cases where I got to enjoy the glitz and glamour of a Hollywood spectacle, but I'd actually have to face the harsh reality of it by myself personally. But again, just removing all that, just technically, it is such an incredible, astonishing achievement. Ridley Scott, I don't know if has ever topped himself in terms of what he does behind the camera. The shots, the cinematography, the score from Hans Zimmer, I think is really heartfelt and touching. This is top tier form for me in terms of a Ridley Scott, like what a cinematic experience a Ridley Scott film can feel like, on the leagues of like Alien or Blade Runner. So I got to start the bid at least at 150.
Okay. Please don't hate me when I say this.
Oh no.
I unfortunately have never seen Black Hawk Down.
No.
This is probably the biggest blind spot of mine in his entire filmography, and there have been so many times where I would sit down and I would start this, but unfortunately I was just never in the headspace for it, and that's so disappointing because this year alone, I've had so many opportunities to watch it. 1 for this draft, 2 for our 2001 movie draft that we did earlier this year.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I still haven't watched it. And it breaks my heart because I know for a fact that this movie would be one that I adore completely. My parents, Paul, they love this movie. And I remember I was talking with them about this not too long ago. I remember they told me that they went to go see this. It came out around like the holidays.
Yep.
And I was super young at this point. I was 3 years old. And I remember that they were so scarred and so traumatized by this movie that when they came home, they gave me and my sister like a gigantic hug, just like embracing us. And I wish that I had memory of that. But at 3 years old, I was probably like, I want to watch SpongeBob. So,
As you should.
but no, this is unfortunately one that I haven't seen. And, you know, you listen to cast, I'm just looking it over and I'm like, this is like equivalent to like Saving Private Ryan and of how it had like everybody in that cast. You brought up Harnett, Bana, McGregor, Sizemore, William Fichtner, who I think is one of Veronica's guys. I think you're
Love
a
him.
big
Oh, he's
champion
awesome
of
in
him.
this.
Jeremy Piven, Ion Grufford, Ewan Bremer. The fact that 2 Trainspotting actors are in this is absolutely crazy to me. Hugh Dancy, Orlando Bloom, Ty Burrell from Modern Family, like
Yep.
Phil Dunphy. Are you kidding?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Nikolaj Coster-Waldau too from
yeah,
Game of
Jamie
Thrones.
Lannister.
Yeah.
That's insane. What a hell of a cast. And Ridley got nominated for director for this, which is
Yeah.
it seems that he's notorious for getting director noms, but not his films nominated for picture.
Yeah,
Which is
this one
interesting.
missed Best Picture. I mean, it's understandable in this case because, you know, the script is not the most groundbreaking script ever. It's basically, you know, a mechanism to get Ridley Scott and all his toys and the huge, gigantic, mega budget Hollywood spectacle to just create these elaborate battle action sequences. I mean, there's 2 different timelines of action sequences, one involving Humvees, one involving ground troops, and then I guess you can involve the helicopter Black Hawks in the air. Like, it is astounding what he accomplished with this film. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the most, like, Saving Private Ryan to me is such an emotionally heartbreaking film of just what war does and the callous nature of how human lives are kind of tossed aside. But Black Hawk Down was like a sugar rush of like Coke and pixie sticks and potato chips of like, this is what a war adrenaline rush feels like, but at the same
What a
time
crazy
it's still,
analogy.
but at
Pixie
the same time
sticks, potato chips. What?
like it's like if you dropped a giant liter of Coke inside a Doritos bag and then put some poxy sticks in there, like, and it just ingested it all. Like, it's that kind of adrenaline rush I felt when I was 9 and I saw this for the first time, and it messed me up, but it was so addicting. Like, and I think that's when I was like marveling at the visual mastery, just like the types of angles it was trying to do, the sound design, just incredible. I would have loved to see this in theater. It's a crime I can't have yet to see this in a movie theater. But no, I love this film. It's not the most heartfelt, emotionally groundbreaking film. It's totally a guy's movie, but you know, it's that same comment of a Gladiator. You know, women cry at Titanic, men cry at Black Hawk Down, but I cry at both at the end. It's so teary-eyed when I get to see the ending of this film. So yeah, I'll 150. But if you just want to raise it for the sake of draining my wallet, that's totally fine because I want this movie.
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Also, just one more casting. I can't believe that the kid who played Smalls from The Sandlot is in this too. Tom Greery. Like,
Oh yeah,
what?
that's right. He is in this movie.
What?
I forgot.
That's just insane cast. This is insane.
Yeah,
But I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not a savage. I would never do that to you, Paul. Veronica, I don't know. She might do that. So, Veronica, what's your take on Black Hawk Down?
I'm in a similar boat as you, Brian. I saw it, but it was a long time ago. I did want to revisit it before this, and I ran out of time. But so yeah, I will not be a jerk and bid just to drain your wallet. So you can go ahead and take this one. But yeah, I like the way that you've spoken about it. Yeah, from what I remember, and you know, clips float around every once in a while that I've seen as well. And yeah, just definitely his directing is on display. Like that is the star here. Even with all of these stars in the cast, you know, it's just Ridley Scott being able to like be a master of action filmmaking is like the big draw here.
I'm gonna go celebrate with the 3-disc Black Hawk Down I have somewhere here, DVD. I can't find it, but
Eat some Doritos and Coke and Pixie Sticks.
exactly. That's
and
how I'm
watch
gonna
it.
celebrate tonight. I got Black Hawk Down in the draft.
This is so crazy. Paul has only spent $151 and he already has half of his
Wow.
team filled.
You might go down in history as the most economical drafter.
Economical. This economy scarred me. I'm trying to be conservative here.
Like over half of Veronica's budget is gone, and just a
Mm-hmm.
little over half of mine is still available. So like,
But it may bite me because the passion you have for Alien and Thelma may like benefit you when it comes to like the vote tally. So
Yeah, we'll see.
we shall see indeed. All right, Veronica, back to you. What is the
Me.
next film that is going to be put on the board?
Oh boy. Okay, let's see. I guess I will go for one that is a good favorite of mine. I don't think one of the big giant masterpiece ones, but definitely one that I would like to keep on my team. For let's see, well, how much money do I have left? I've got 350 left, so I'm gonna keep it kind of economical. I'll throw it out there for $25. I'm gonna put out The Last Duel, which is I guess probably the most recent movie we've talked about so far. This one came out in 2021. Definitely suffered with a COVID release sort of thing. I don't remember if I'm sure it came out in theaters somewhere, but I
It
don't think I
did.
saw it in theaters. I don't, it was probably like a day and date thing. And so yeah, I think that this kind of has gotten somewhat buried. But this is it is going sort of, sword and sandals medieval thing that really has done well in the past. But again, it takes a really personal angle to this big epic storytelling. So Matt Damon, Adam Driver, Jodie Comer. There's a dispute about Adam Driver sexually assaulting Jodie Comer, and it does sort of this Rashomon type thing where it's told from different perspectives. A detail that I love about this that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wrote the script, but the parts of the story that are told from Jodie Comer's character's perspective were written by Nicole Holofcener, who is one of my favorite like writer directors out there. I think her career is so underrated. I think she's such a great, and she does much more smaller scale like mumblecore type films. Like you wouldn't necessarily think of her as a scriptwriter on this one, but it makes total sense to bring that perspective to what Jodie Comer's character is dealing with. You have Ben Affleck as like I think between this and Air, this was his era of doing like these weird side characters that were like very wacky and being sort of a comic sidekick to the main action going on. So yeah, I think that this is I haven't rewatched it all that recently, but I remember really liking it. I think that it's there is action scenes, but it's kind of this core like social drama thing going on that I think is pretty well done, and definitely wish that it would have gotten more recognition. So yeah, like I said, I'll keep it cheap for now because of my budget, but I'll put this one out for $25.
This film is so good. And I remember going to watch it in the theater, not sure what to expect from it. I was looking forward to it because of the cast, and Adam Driver is my guy. Everybody knows this. Like, of course, Adam Driver being in a film like gets me excited, and the fact that he was in two Ridley Scott films in the same years is kind of cool in my opinion. I think it's really awesome. Yeah, it's so interesting the way that this was structured, the Rosh Hashanah, the 3 act structure, and I like how each person wrote a story. Matt Damon wrote the storyline with his character. Ben Affleck wrote the stuff with Adam Driver's character, and then Nicole Center, who I agree, I'm a big fan of her as well. It's so cool that she got to work on such a big scale project like this. You would not expect the person who made like Enough Said and Friends with Money and all these other projects to do something like this, but I think it's really inspiring that she was attached to this project. And I think that all around, to me, this is the last really strong Ridley Scott movie to have come out. And I mean, it's only 5 years old, so it's not a relatively old film, but I remember so vividly when it came out, and I saw it in the theater opening night. I remember it was pretty empty. I think it was just me and my two friends who I went with to go watch this, and I was really devastated that this did not do very well. But also, I kind of anticipated that considering the pandemic of it all, not just that being a factor, but also it's a very grueling subject that this movie tackles. It's very long. And it's not the most exciting, exhilarating project out there. So even though it has 4 major stars and a pretty major director at the helm, there just wasn't a lot of hunger for this movie. But I do think that after it came out on digital and streaming, it was a bit more embraced, even though, like you said, Veronica, you don't really hear a lot of people talk about this, especially when it comes to Ridley Scott and the actors involved. But I think that this is a really great entry in his filmography, especially at this stage of his career. And there were moments throughout this movie where I was like, this guy's in his 80s and he's directing scenes like he's 20, and I have no idea how he's pulling it off. So I'm a big champion of The Last Duel. I think that this is a fantastic film. So I'll raise the bid to, let's go to 75 for this one.
It's really the Jodie Comer factor that really sealed the deal for me with this film. I mean, I think the Rashomon style of it is an interesting structure for him to experiment, but especially when it's centered around something as, you know, again, horrific, a rape of Jodie Comer's Margaretti character. I think, and just seeing her perspective really just kind of made this film elevated more to just what, you know, like a classic Ridley Scott period historical epic. You know, you got the battle sequences in the beginning, and you also have the incredible jousting scene that was super graphic. I was not expecting it to go that graphic at the ending. Like you, Brian, I saw this on opening weekend. It was pretty sparse in my theater, and I do agree. I don't know what the hunger was for this type of film, especially centered around such a grueling subject matter. But I would say this is his last really good to great movie. Like, I think I would give it like 4 stars on Letterboxd. I really enjoyed him kind of experimenting with tonal structures and narrative structures, and as well as just having an interesting combination of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Adam Driver and Jodie Comer, you know, especially with Matt Damon now, who is just so on top of the world with the Odyssey. It's kind of interesting to see how, you know, we kind of take Matt Damon a little bit for granted as a leading man, and I kind of like him being this scummy, slightly skeezy character, but also kind of being like, in a way, the archetype hero by the end, even though you don't really know how to feel about him. And so, yeah, I would raise this to $100. You can go to 100.
Yeah, Veronica, you've gone on record saying that Matt Damon isn't an actor that you dislike, but he's also not one of your favorites. How do you feel about him in this particular role? And also the fact that he was a writer on this project too.
Yeah, I'm mixed on some of his performance I love, and some I'm less enthused by. I don't like when he's in the mode of just like straight up leading man, and I think he gets a little, I don't know, a little like too I don't know, he's too Boy Scoutish sometimes. And then also in recent years he's just kind of slipped into a lot of like cameo modes where he's just like showing up like, hi, I'm Matt Damon, and that just doesn't work for me. But I love this role because I need him to be doing something either weird or like low key very sinister, which this kind of has that going on. Like, he is, you know, ostensibly here for his wife's honor, but he takes his wife's alleged rape as like a slight to his own self and his own honor and everything, and that is so, yeah, like you said, Paul, he's like kind of this scummy character, so I like him in that mode. I think that he needs a little edge to him, and I definitely think he gets that here. But I would definitely, and I love Adam Driver, you know, I know one of your guys, Brian, and I already said Ben Affleck is so entertaining in this, but Jodie Comer, like, when she gets her first Oscar nomination, everyone is going to be like, finally. And she hasn't really been around all that long. Like, I think, you know, she kind of broke out on TV first and has not been in a ton of like big movies or anything, but she is just like unreal. Like, I don't know, I think she has the potential to hit like Meryl Streep, Cate Blanchett status by the end of her career. I just think that she's already got some great performances, and I think she's
like already halfway to
better
an
in her
EGOT too.
Yeah. So she's like, just having her in this movie with these giant movie stars already well established, like, it's a really great, it kind of plays into that dynamic and everything too. It's such a great movie. Yeah, I would, what was the last bid?
$100.
Yeah.
I'll go 125.
Yeah, she really is the glue to this entire film, and it was the performance that me and my friends couldn't stop buzzing about when we walked out of the theater. Like we were like, oh, like Matt Damon and Adam Driver were great, and then Ben Affleck was very kooky and over the top and a wonderful scene stealer, but Jodie Comer was really the MVP of this entire film. And, you know, the first 2 acts where she's not the central focus, like, she excels in those acts, but when we're on her full display in that third and final act, I mean, it changes everything. It completely changes everything. And yeah, it's crazy how I remember she was getting some awards buzz, and there were a lot of people that did want her to get nominated. It just wasn't going to happen, unfortunately. I think if this had been a much stronger contender, maybe she could have come along for the ride. And it was just such a stacked year too for Best Actress that year. It was a crazy year when it came to that category, but I think when I did my own personal nominations, I think I had her in my 5 because I was that much in love with the performance. So, what was the last bid? What'd you raise it to, Veronica?
I said 125, I think.
I'll go 150.
Wow. I think the problem with Comer was she was also competing with another Ridley Scott lead female performance in Lady Gaga.
Of course.
Which that was the one I was always getting accolades and nominations, although she did.
She got everything but the Oscar.
Yeah, she missed the Oscar. Lady Gaga, she did not make it so.
Sorry to Fata-san House of Gucci.
Yeah. Jared Leto. Well, glad we that never happened. Yeah, it's really interesting the modes Ridley Scott operates in, because I still, there's one historical epic that we haven't talked about that I really want to have on my team, and so that's the kind of space I'm saving for. So just in the interest of trying to preserve it for that, I'll bow out of this one. Not out of the gamesman and sportsmanship, but you guys spent half your budgets on 2 movies, and there's one movie I'm willing to spend 3/4 of my budget on. So maybe I'll be reckless then. So we'll see how that happens. Yeah,
you probably won't have to. We'll probably be broke by then. But
I know. I'll just announce it. I'll just announce it. 700 for so and so.
Are you gonna bid any more, Veronica?
Yeah. What was your last bid?
150.
I'll go 175.
185.
200.
210.
Come on. 225.
250.
Brian wants this.
Yeah. What'd you say? 250. 260.
I need Adam Driver on my team. 275.
You're free to draft House of Gucci.
Yeah,
absolutely
it's right
not. I don't want Jared Leto on my team.
I'll go 300.
Oh my God.
I definitely feel sandwiched in here.
310.
320.
330.
I have $350 left.
This is
335.
This is way too high for this movie. This is insane. 350. Wow. Fuck it.
Well, I'm priced out then.
350 for the last. So there is a hive for this movie out there. Yeah. There is a hive. Yeah, I think that I'm in good hands with this one. 190 remaining. Wow. Okay. Is it your turn again?
Oh yeah, my turn again. Oh God. Okay. Well, let's throw out another biggie and see how this one goes. I will nominate again. I'm gonna be keeping it cheap. I'll throw out for $25. Let's do The Martian here.
Fuck.
Well, you still have a shot. Good to do it now while you still have a little bit of money. The Martian is admittedly not top tier for me. I really like the movie. I don't love it. I know that for a lot of people it's a classic. This might be a favorite Ridley Scott movie. Like I said, this is kind of Matt Damon in Boy Scout mode a little bit, which is fine. Again, it's not like he's bad. He doesn't make or break a movie for me. It just don't love him the way that a lot of people do. But
I don't like this Matt Damon slander. I don't like this at all. I hate. I'm gonna start trying to avoid talking about Matt Damon on this pod because Veronica's just gonna say all this slander, and I don't like it. It's one of my boys.
It's a personal preference. It's there are some modes I like him in, some that I prefer.
Listen, Veronica loves his performance in Team America. That's the Matt Damon.
Oh fuck yeah, I do. I particularly love what's the movie he made a cameo in? Scotty Doesn't Know.
Oh yeah, I've seen the cameo. I haven't seen
Euro Trip.
Euro Trip, yeah, one of those trips.
I just loved how he came from the set of The Brothers Grimm and then shot that scene. I think that's so fucking badass. Continue your spiel about The Martian, please.
Anyway, this is I do really like it. Obviously based on a book by Andy Weir,
Mm-hmm.
same. Definitely has a lot of the same DNA as Project Hail Mary, and also adapted by Drew Goddard. Also has an incredible supporting cast. My girl Jessica Chastain
My
and
wife.
like 5 million other people. So it's this is a very crowd pleasing movie. It works really well. Again, cool sci-fi concept that is like tangential to real science, but also has fun with it. Doesn't get too bogged down in like trying to explain away everything. So yeah, really solid crowd pleasing movie that I'm probably expecting to get outbid on, but I do like it, even if it's not one of my absolute favorites.
What are you bidding it for?
I think I put it for 25 since I don't have much.
I'm going to put $50 on the winner for best motion picture, musical, or comedy.
Yes, the best comedy.
The funniest movie that came
Hilarious.
out in 2015. This is my number one favorite movie of 2015. I fucking love The Martian so much. I loved the book. I'm not a big reader, admittedly, but I read this book right before the movie came out, and I thought this was a wonderful adaptation of the material, as Drew Goddard proved when he adapted Project Hail Mary just this year. I think that if there's going to be anyone adapting Andy Weir's material, it's got to be him going forward. I think he just understands Weir's sensibilities, and he finds a way of not necessarily dumbing down the science, but like making it digestible for us while still making it so compelling and engrossing. Matt Damon is fucking awesome in this movie. He is great in this. This is pretty much the Matt Damon showcase front and back. And Mark Watney is such an interesting character that I think that on paper, Matt Damon worked so well for this film. And there are moments in this movie that are genuinely really, really funny. Like, yeah, we make the joke, oh, it won Best Comedy at the Golden Globes, but there are plenty of moments that made me laugh here. But it is very thrilling and exhilarating. It's beautifully constructed. I do think that this was Ridley Scott's strongest film of the 2010s, and it got nominated for picture. He was pretty much right there of getting that director nom, and I was really bummed that morning that he missed out on the director nom because it was my favorite film of the year. But I also didn't think that this was going to end up being the huge awards contender that it was. So when it got nominated for picture and Matt Damon got nominated for actor and the screenplay got nominated, I was so happy and over the moon. And despite my love for this movie, I haven't revisited it as much as I've wanted to, and I have the Blu-ray here at home, and there have been many instances where I wanted to pop it in, and I think it's kind of wild to me that after just a year after he did Interstellar, he's like, oh, I'm back doing another movie where I'm trapped in space on a planet. So I loved this little period of Matt Damon, but he's great. He's wonderful in this. The entire ensemble kicks ass as well. You brought up Jessica Chastain, literally the love of my life. The fact that she was also in Interstellar is crazy to me. And then Jeff Daniels, Michael Pena, Kate Mara, Sean Bean, Sebastian Stan, Chiwetel
Donald Glover,
Ejiofor.
I'm liking him.
Great
Insane.
cast. Just wonderful cast. Yeah, I love this movie very much.
I'm a huge fan of this film, and this was like a comeback for Ridley Scott because there was like that down period. A lot of Prometheus was successful financially, but I think a lot of fans were really just irritated from Prometheus and what Ridley Scott was trying to do, and then obviously The Counselor, which we don't have to relitigate. And so there was a bit of a down period for Ridley Scott with a lot of people, and this kind of brought him back up. And is it fair to say this kind of started a trend of loving competency in movies, like competency porn kind of began with The Martian in popular culture, because it's about really intelligent, smart people doing intelligent, smart things, and it's kind of gratifying to watch play out.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I think that another writer that gets thrown around with a lot is Aaron Sorkin and the kind of, watching hyper intelligent people do things. But this is kind of in a different mode to take that into a sci-fi direction and everything. So yeah, that's a good shout.
The last bid was what, 75 or 100?
What was the start? I think I
I opened at 25. I think, Brian, you said 50?
I'd said 50.
All right, I'll bump it to 75. No, this is a great, it's just a great crowd pleasing movie. I saw this, I think I was a junior during college when I saw this. It was so entertaining. Everyone laughed. It's highly entertaining, and even certain some dramatic moments, I think you could hear like barely a peep in the audience. Like everyone was super glued to what was happening, and I just love the more hopeful, whimsical nature of humanity kind of acting on its best instincts right before 2016 reared its ugly head around, and where are we at. So it's kind of felt like the last bastion of hope for humanity, feel like a united front and being able to solve any obstacle it comes its way. So I guess in a way I miss that kind of whimsy. Maybe that's a college year speaking to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm nostalgic, but no, yeah, I think 75 is a good way to up it.
That is so true. And yeah, looking at like Project Hail Mary coming out now, that has like a similar ethos to it. And it's like we've been through such a period of like darkness, and our movies reflecting that and bleakness, that it's like it almost feels like a reprieve to have something that's like a little bit hopeful. So yeah, that the fact that was the start and our current loss of hope is interesting. What was the last bid?
75.
75. I'll go 100.
Who's your favorite supporting performance in this? Because mine, I think, is either Kristen Wiig or Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I'll go Jeff Daniels.
Oh, he's awesome.
I love Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, Jeff Daniels always great. Yeah, for whatever reason, I remember liking Donald Glover in this.
Oh, that's right.
He's great. He's good in this too.
Yeah.
It was very weird seeing Kristen Wiig in this. I remember when the cast list was announced, and I'm like, Kristen Wiig in a Ridley Scott film? What? Like, this is very, very strange, but hey, I love versatility from an actor.
She can do anything. We definitely know that now, but this is probably one of the first, different kinds of movies that she was in.
Yeah, this wasn't too long after her SNL run concluded. Mm-hmm. What was the last bid?
I brought it to 100.
Yep.
Let's go 110.
115. I love some of the quotes. In your face, Neil Armstrong. I guess I'm the first pirate on Mars. Like a lot of fun one-liners that can't really escape from my head. So
I'm gonna science the shit out of this.
Yeah, that's the classic one. Science the shit out of it. Poop potato. I can't stand any more disco music. Yeah, that's a classic one.
I like when he's doing the videos to himself and he's like, "And I'm still alive." Obviously.
Obviously. You kind of need that kind of humor when you're stuck on a barren planet so far away from home.
This movie would be like oppressive if it didn't have a little bit of lightness to it. So yeah. I mean, is it the best comedy? I don't know, but I can kind of understand why it gets categorized that way.
Yeah.
It has been 7 days since I ran out of ketchup.
Oh, that honestly, I end it. I'll open that.
Oh, I would completely end it. If I had no more ketchup, I would just end it all.
What's the point?
Else to live for.
Eating dry potatoes for the rest of my life? No way.
Oh my god.
What was the last bid?
115.
115. I'll raise it to 130.
Let's go 140.
Oh.
Paul, are you gonna up it from there?
145. I'm tempted.
I'll go 160.
Oh wow.
Oh shit. 165.
Getting close to your limit there, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with 175.
180.
190. Sorry, Brian.
Fine. Take this film from her, Paul.
Oh man, there's.
You have so much money, Paul.
It's not even about the money. There's a certain films I want, and I think that's my strategy is. It's like I just want my favorite.
But are
movies.
You going with your heart or are you going with your head?
Does it have to be either or? Like, can it be both at the same time? Like, is that a choice? Fine, 195.
200. Think about those other movies, all those other movies that you want.
I know. There's so many. That's the thing. There's so many great Ridley Scott movies that no one loves, but I love, and that's. Well, maybe there's one that everyone loves, but no one's bid on it yet. So you can have it. 200. You can have
Thank you.
I really tried, Brian. My heart wants my heart wants the counselors of the world to win, not the Martians to win.
You failed me.
Yeah, the Martian doesn't need any help. Just needs to help me on my team.
Ugh, I'm pretty much fucked. That is my considered opinion. All right, Paul, we're back to you. What is going to be the next film on the board? I'm really surprised that a certain film hasn't been drafted yet. I'm very surprised.
That I'm surprised too, so I'm just gonna end it right here. Blade Runner, $500.
$500.
500.
All
Well,
right,
you
well,
got
you
it.
won it.
Yeah,
It's
that's the thing. It's
yours.
like we're talking about money. Let's just deplete half my budget right there. Let's just get rid of it. So
Man knows what he wants. Yep, there you go.
we can talk about. Let's talk about Blade Runner though. I mean, I love Aliens so much. Like I think that's my favorite. But something about Blade Runner, I think, just speaks to me on that science fiction, detective noir, just the blending of so many genres, the photography, the production design. I mean, I think every techno science fiction art deco style is pretty much copied from Blade Runner, and it's criminal this wasn't nominated for production design. Like that's just a crime against humanity in my opinion. Like how did you not nominate this for production design? And it was considered a flop. It was considered a failure, and I think that really hurt Ridley Scott's career a little bit in that 80s run. But I just love everything about this movie, and I love what it inspired in Blade Runner 2049. I think that's my favorite Denis Villeneuve film. Like I just think that's almost as superior in terms of a sequel while building on the foundations of the first Blade Runner. And Harrison Ford as Deckard, I just think, first of all, iconic look. Like look at, I want that trench coat. Like I just want to be able to wear that and be able to deck that out without any.
And he's also so fucking hot in this movie. Oh my god.
He is, yeah. He's wet in every scene. He's
Oh
like a,
yeah.
he's like a
Yes,
salamander.
he is, baby.
Yeah, yeah. He's like wet as a salamander. Like he's just like
Oh.
dripping of perspiration. Like, and especially like when he's like battling all these replicants, and then obviously the iconic Rutger Hauer scene, "Tears in the Rain" monologue.
yeah.
Just I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Like I just. And it just like hits you. It's just so like I didn't think Ridley Scott had this kind of versatility in terms of a director where it's a science fiction crime movie, but then it just becomes this existential, bleak examination of humanity, what the frontier looks like. I mean, it's kind of what we're dealing with today with all these techno oligarchs want to go to space and colonize Mars and whatnot. It's like I feel like we're not too far off from the future of actual Blade Runner, where it felt like a fantasy. And so that's why I love Ridley Scott when he's just in that hyperistic existential mode of thinking about humanity's place in the universe and to each other and how we treat each other. It's so cruel. Like you feel empathy for these replicants, even though they never asked to be this way. And then they're also capable of, inflicting their own cruelty to other people because that's how they were raised. That's how they were born. And so I was surprised it went this long. This is what I was saving the bulk of my money on. So, but I just in fairness, so I can deplete my money unnecessarily, 500 for Blade Runner. But I'll let you guys talk about it because we should talk about it.
So I will say that I like the movie a lot and everything. It's definitely not one of my top 5 Ridley Scott films. Now, when it comes to the directing and the filmmaking, this is very much up there for sure. And, the fact that this came out, almost 45 years ago and is a visual feast for the eyes and something that was very much ahead of its time and something that we hadn't seen at this point. It's really exhilarating to see a film like this come out, and I can only imagine how wild it was going to watch this in the theater back in 82 when it came out, and everyone was like, what the hell did we just watch? And some people were probably like, this is one of the best things I've ever seen, and I'm sure there were people that are like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever watched in my life. But throughout the years, and I've watched it multiple times, and my appreciation for it grows and grows. I'm not quite at the 5-star masterpiece level for this movie. I am getting there, though. I think that next watch or the watch after could finally get me to that point. But it is one of the most influential films ever made. A masterclass in sci-fi storytelling. Harrison Ford is awesome. Rutger Hauer is awesome. Sean Young is also incredible, too. Like, that's a wonderful performance. And yeah, all around, just like one of the coolest films out there. And yeah, I would say that I'm a bigger champion of 2049, but this is just like masterful stuff from one of our greats. And Harrison Ford's run in the 80s, especially the early 80s, is insane. 1980, Empire Strikes Back. 1981, Raiders of the Lost Ark. 82, this. 83, Return of the Jedi. And 84, Temple of Doom. Like, and then 85, Witness, which he got an Oscar nom for. It's like, what a powerhouse run.
Legendary.
Multiple back-to-back years. It's like he was in one of the most all these influential movies: Empire, Raiders, Blade Runner, Return of the Jedi, Temple. Like these are all celebrated, iconic films, and he owned the '80s. Like he was like the deal in the '80s.
And it was only a carpenter a couple
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
years with George Lucas.
Yeah.
And then here he is.
Yeah, oh my God, what a trajectory. It's so crazy. Yeah, Brian, I'm pretty similar to you on this. I think we've talked about it before. This was not one of the movies that I like grew up with I did with a lot of the sci-fi, with Alien and Star Wars and all the other big sci-fi titles. So yeah, I think I watched it for the first time right before Blade Runner 2049. So I was older at that point. I maybe watched it once again since that, and it is definitely a movie that it can be a little impenetrable. I think you definitely need multiple watches. I mean, there are multiple cuts of it and everything, which obviously really affects the viewing. What is your preferred cut? Because I know there's the final one, and it gets very messy.
I've only seen the final cut. That's the only
Okay.
cut I've seen.
Yeah, the Final Cut is probably my preferred, although this did also start the trend of the director's cut with like Ridley Scott and director's
Yeah.
cuts, very like inseparable, those two things. And so
Yep.
it's kind of funny which cut people end up getting. And they also reflect how the studio wanted to approach trying to market this to mass audiences, because I think that's also one of the issues that people maybe, or not people, like the studios wanted to be mass appealing to an audience, especially in that style of Star Wars and all these other science fiction movies coming out, like Tron back then in the early 80s. But this is far more contemplative and patient. It's very much a methodical, step by step, just trying to understand how people relate to each other. And the notion of replicants, and we're dealing with artificial intelligence now in the 21st century in 2026, and people making clones of each other. And it's really, really fascinating. Yeah, I agree. It took me a couple watches to like really love. Like it wasn't something I instantly loved, but I think it's the style and the look of it that just keep making me want to return to it over and over again. That just kind of like, no cyberpunk will ever feel like it wasn't influenced by Blade Runner. Like no matter what, subconsciously, unconsciously, Blade Runner influenced everything in terms of science fiction and cyberpunk and techno deck. Like it's just, you can't escape it. And so in a way, and also I just love it. Like I just love watching it now. And, like, it feels at ease with me. Before, when I first saw it, I was like 13 or 14 when I first saw it. So definitely have a lot more patience for it now than I did 15 years ago.
Yeah, and this was, you talked about how it didn't necessarily perform well when it came out. This was an incredible year for like sci-fi horror genre. I think probably all within the same summer. It was like this and E.T. and Tron and The Thing, Star Trek, Wrath of Khan, like all of these big Poltergeist, like all of these, the genre was definitely in like a boom period. And I think that, those are all brilliant movies to differing degrees, but Blade Runner, I just think is, came out to be so influential. Like you said, you can so easily tell when something is influenced by it. It's just, it's so distinctive, which, I think Ridley Scott, you could almost describe him as a bit of a journeyman director. Like he definitely dabbles in all these different genres, but like the fact that he crafted this world to be so distinctive is really, a big achievement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you blew us away with $500, so we're not allowed to say anything else about it.
If I was allowed to draft 5 movies, I would have been more competitive and drained my bank account.
No, fair enough.
Wow.
All right.
All right, we're back to me. Let's see. I have 190 remaining, so I think it's safe to say that we're going to go back to the not so big scaled movies that he's directed. So we're going to put a favorite of mine on the board next. I'm going to start the bid very low. We'll start it at $20, and I'm going to go with 2007's American Gangster. I fucking love American Gangster. I think that this is one of his best achievements to date. And I will say that when it comes to American Gangster, when you watch a lot of Ridley Scott movies, you kind of go, oh, this feels very Ridley Scott, that feels very Ridley Scott. And there's definitely some Ridley Scott-isms sprinkled throughout this movie, but this is kind of like his love letter to the crime drama films of like the 70s and the 80s. And I think it's so slickly directed, and the screenplay by Steven Zaillian is one of the stronger screenplays. We've said this many times on the pod. When Ridley Scott works with a great screenplay, that's usually when he delivers his best work. And this is no exception. The screenplay here is very tight. It's frenetic. It takes its time with the characters and the story. You have Denzel Washington delivering one of his best performances as career criminal Frank Lucas, and then you have Russell Crowe as Newark detective, New Jersey representation, Richie Roberts, who is like the battle of wits between the two of them. It's like you have these two powerhouse Oscar-winning actors who were so celebrated and so established and had very wonderful careers in the 2000s, where they're going up to bat with one another, and it's really, really cool. And I rewatched this movie a year ago. I just think that this is a film that doesn't get a lot of attention when it comes to Ridley Scott. And I get it. It's not Alien. It's not Blade Runner. It's not Gladiator. But to be honest, this really is one of the coolest films in his entire catalog. It's so cool. It's so good. I love this movie very, very much. I just think that it needs to get a lot more fanfare compared to everything else that he's directed. And I cannot stress enough how wonderful the screenplay by Steven Zaillian is. And he's a guy that has written many of my favorite screenplays ever, from Schindler's List to Moneyball, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Irishman. He's written so many scripts that I have really, really gravitated towards. And I think that this is not far off from his strongest work. I think Schindler's List is the best thing that he's ever penned, but this is not far off at all. And yeah, I love this movie very much. And again, another stacked ensemble. Oh my God, like one of the coolest ensembles ever put in a Ridley Scott film. Ted Levine, John Ortiz, Josh Brolin, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Ruby Dee, Cuba Gooding Jr., John Hawkes, RZA, cannot forget RZA, who is fucking sick in this movie. He's great. Yeah, I love this. Common, Tip Harris, just to name a few. Like, there's so many great people in this. Norman Reedus in a fairly early role in his career, pre-Walking Dead. Yeah, this movie's... And Idris Elba. Can't forget Idris Elba. That's my guy. So, yeah, American Gangster is great, and I'm going to start the bid at $20.
This is a blind spot for me. I haven't seen it. Been on the watch list for a long time, but yeah, I definitely think that, yeah, it's not one that gets talked about a whole lot, but I do think that people who love it really love it. So yeah, it makes sense that it's a favorite for you.
This had the unfortunate circumstance of coming out in 2007, a year full of so many masterpieces. No Country for Old Men, There Will Be Blood, Zodiac, just a staggering amount of amazing films. Assassination of Jesse James. I mean, I could go on, but American Gangster is a phenomenal movie. Like you, Brian, I love this movie. I love, obviously it's taking the construct of Heat, where you have the gang leader, but you also have the good to do cop, kind of culminating by the end where they have a climactic scene where they confront each other. But I just love the world building, and I think that's something we also love about Ridley Scott, is the world building he does, whether it's in science fiction, whether it's in historical epics, or whether it's in something like this. It's partially a historical epic, but it's still a little bit more contemporary to modern New York in the 1970s, where it feels like you're back in Harlem in the 70s, where the Vietnam War is raging, where drugs is so rampant that you're seeing overdoses on the street, and yet crime had begun to escalate and continue to sprawl. And you have Frank Lucas, Denzel Washington just giving such a fierce, like, I would say this is more of a fierce villainous performance than Training Day. Training Day, he has a lot of charisma and suave in that, and he's like using it to his benefit. But here, he is a stone cold murderer. Mm-hmm. Like, he will shoot you in public. You don't want to fuck
with Frank Lucas.
You don't want to
get on his bad side.
Yeah, don't be Idris Elba asking for 20%. No, you might get more than that, than 20%. I love this movie. Production design, Ruby Dee, for the few scenes she has, like, you just feel this warmth that she has for her son, but then she like smacks him. It's like, oh, I felt that.
Oh yeah,
like that's a mother's scorn right there. So all around great. And Josh Brolin, what a sleazy motherfucker in this movie.
Dude,
I hate his
when I saw this
so
for
much.
The first time, there was a slight period where I fucking hated Josh Brolin because of the stuff that he does in this movie. And I'm not going to spoil it, but like the stuff that he does, it made me hate him for a while. Mm-hmm. It made me go, fuck you, Josh Brolin. I hope you get massacred in every movie that you're in going forward.
I feel like Thanos seems nice compared to this guy.
I think I watched both this and Milk back to back, and Milk, he did unthinkable things in that as well. So I'm like, dude, you're not on a good track right now for me.
Not on a good track record. Yeah. Oh, Milk, what a doozy, that performance. But and I love that when he goes to meet Richie in the New Jersey office, Russell Crowe's like, next time give me a call. I'll let you know if it's okay to come, like, to the Jersey office. That was a good comeback from him after Josh Brolin fucked with him in New York. What was your bid? $50?
$20.
$20. Okay, I'll go $50. We can keep talking about it if we want, but I love this movie. Also, kick-ass soundtrack. What a kick-ass soundtrack.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people look at this and they're like, oh, it's just him trying to replicate like Lumet and Scorsese, and even if that's the case, it's still pretty fucking cool.
It's still cool. Like it's so enjoyable.
Like he had never really done a crime film before at this rate, right? Like, was this his first foray into that genre?
I would say so. Yeah.
I kind of wish that I know that he had dabbled in it later on, but none of it ever came close to this. Like, this is just like the crown achievement when it comes to his crime genre phase. Like, I think this movie is so good. And yeah, 2007, like that is an awesome year for film, and we're going to be doing an 2007 draft next year, which I'm very excited to do. That was a good fucking year for movies. That was a really good year for movies. I think if this had been a year where the Academy had 10 nominees for picture, I honestly think that this could have found a way into the 10. Absolutely. I think it could have absolutely made its way in.
Totally. That would not be, no question about it in my mind. I mean, it also just was super successful. Like, people really loved it universally. Even the critics, they'll say, oh, it's like Scorsese Lumet, but it's still well done. It's like a better version than what like other copycats try to do when it comes to the genre.
81 on Rotten Tomatoes, 76 on Metacritic. Did pretty well at the box office. Grossed $270 million on a $100 million budget, so a little over half its budget. But people were hungry for a movie like this, and again, like, this is the kind of film that we really don't get much of anymore. And I think it's really cool that we got something like this. I think it's just such an awesome film from him. What was the last bid? $50?
Yeah.
I'll go $75.
Also, the story is just so crazy. A guy uses Vietnam War to smuggle drugs from Vietnam, pure, like 99% grade heroin, using the U.S. military service planes. Like, you would never believe that, unless it was on Netflix, and yet this still actually happened. Like, this is what happened. It's such a crazy story. Like, that's the thing. It's the fastest 2.5 hour movie you'll probably ever watch.
It flies by.
It flies by.
It really flies by.
So quick. That's like a good classification of 2.5 hour movies that don't feel like 2.5 hours. And
I agree.
And I just love the final scene between Richie and Frank in the interrogation room.
Yeah.
When they're just like going back and forth about, like, Frank, he's charged with all these crimes, but Richie's, he's got his own fair share of enemies. And then Frank talks about what normal is to him, and he talks about a recent traumatic childhood incident. Like, it's such a repertoire. Like, I used to watch an hour of those two men talking in a room. And it's just so dynamic. So you were at 70, 75?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. What's your budget left at?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't want to remind you too much.
Checking the budget.
190. Okay, let's bump it to 100. Let's go 100. Like, this is a movie
two spots to fill. Paul has one.
Like, this is a movie like you could show to anyone. Like, as long as they're not squeamish around violence. I mean, the movie literally opens up with a guy getting burned to death, set on fire.
Yeah.
So it's like, as long as you're okay with violence, like, this movie should be easy to watch for sure for anyone.
115.
I do need a little bit of variety because I got Counselor, Black Hawk Down, Blade Runner, so I kind of need something a little more broadly friendly, I guess. Black Hawk Down is more friendly too, but Counselor and Blade Runner certainly, not like I can show that to my parents.
Hey, listen, Robin Hood is right there for you. Just saying.
I was debating if I should do Robin Hood instead of Blade Runner. I mean, we already got another Robin Hood movie this year with from A24, Michael Sarnowski.
Yeah, Death of Robin Hood.
Yeah, man, Robin Hood, that IP has just been done to death. That needs to be put to sleep. You said 110?
115.
115. Let's say 125. This is really entertaining. Like, I think somewhere along the lines, I have two copies of this. One was the Blockbuster version where it has an open hole at the end of the DVD cover, like where they put the locks in. And then the other one's like a 3-disc book where it has like a booklet of like artwork from the movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, yeah, no, I love this movie. It's super entertaining.
135. I need something. I need 2 films.
That's right, you do.
Because there's, I'll be honest, there's not much I can choose from.
The thing is, if I let you have this, then we are each down to 1 film for our bracket, so it's kind of like running down the wire. So maybe I should let you have it just to kind of build the anticipation of what our last films will be. You said 135?
Yes.
I'll let you have it at 135.
Yay!
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
I'm like Scrooge in the Nightmare Before Christmas, so forgiving and merciful of such a generous man I am.
Yeah, you've got your boot on our necks here. You could do whatever you wanted, really.
Yeah. Sorry, little Timmy, no operation for you.
Okay, I get to
right,
put
Brian's
another
pick again.
film on the board. Like I said, not... Well, actually, there is one other film left that we haven't drafted yet that I'm a big champion of.
Oh, I know which one you mean. Yeah.
You
ever walking on a sidewalk until you pissed blood?
That's it! So that film is going to be the next one, and that is going to be 2003's Matchstick Men, which is a fucking phenomenal black comedy crime film starring the man, the GOAT, Nicolas Cage, as someone with Tourette's and OCD, and he's a con artist who is great at conning, but he is so messed up outside of it. And this is one of Nicolas Cage's best performances, in my humble opinion. People like to look at Nicolas Cage as a meme. They like to look at him as a joke. And he's made plenty of movies where he's fallen under that status and everything. But when he puts out a great performance, it is hard to push aside because he is spectacular in this movie. Everything that you love about him is present in this movie. He is crazy. He is frenetic. He is hyperactive. He has multiple sequences where he is screaming from the top of his lungs, and it makes for wonderful comedy. But on top of that, too, there's this really fascinating story that comes into play to where he reunites with his daughter that he didn't even really know existed, and you get her wanted to partake in the conning, but then all these things happen, all these twists and turns. Not going to spoil it in case anyone hasn't seen it. This is one of the more underrated entries in Ridley Scott's filmography because, like American Gangster, this isn't the kind of film that you expect from the guy who made Alien and Blade Runner and all these other films. But this is a real strong outing from him, and I love it very, very much. And then also great supporting performances from Sam Rockwell and Alison Lohman, just to name a few people. I love Matchstick Men. This was a film that I watched for the first time during COVID, and I immediately fell in love with it. This was like one of those films where I was like, wow, it is very rare for me to give 5 stars on the first watch, and that was how it was for me. I really love Matchstick Men very, very much, and it's just so fucking good. That whole sequence is where he's in the pharmacy with the prefects and everything. Bullshit, man!
Bullshit, man!
Prefects! Just, oh my God, I love it so much. I love him in this movie. I love this movie. So I'll start the bid very low. We'll start it off with $10.
The most un-Ridley Scott movie he's probably ever made. Like,
Absolutely.
you would never think this is a Ridley Scott movie until you see the credit.
This feels like
so
a movie
strange.
that anyone would have made. And
Literally.
the fact that he made it is incredible.
This movie's so entertaining. It's been a while since I've seen it actually, but I just remember loving the hell out of it the last time I saw it. It's just so wickedly fun. Like, it's like, again, it's like a dad reuniting with this kid, but he's involved in crime. It's like a little mid-range budget movie, but it also for some reason cost $60 million to make. So that's what you get with a Ridley Scott movie, a really expensive budget. But yeah, you got
do it small.
He doesn't do it small. Yeah, I would love to see a Ridley Scott indie movie. That'd be like a $30 million movie probably. And then he's got Sam Rockwell. He's always fun. This was that era of Sam Rockwell where a lot of us were like, when's Sam Rockwell gonna be like recognized for his greatness and as that character actor that we always loved seeing him in? We love his repertoire with Nicolas Cage as like these two kind of slicksters that are just kind of work the system and try to do their own little cons. I love this movie. You said $10, so I'll go $20.
I have not seen this movie, but thank you both. I feel like I have now.
Yeah, right. We can just reenact this movie on the pod. That's probably what we'll do.
But yeah,
no.
Loving everything that you guys are saying about it. It's Brian. Would you call it Coen Brothers-esque? Because from the description that I'm hearing, it kind of sounds
feels
like that.
a bit Coen-y. I could see
that vibe,
them doing something like, and I know those are your guys, so
exactly, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why and I like Nicolas Cage a lot. Definitely, again, someone who's similar to Ridley Scott, kind of a very up and down career, and some things that are masterpieces and others less so. But Sam Rockwell, for sure, that's like, I'd watch him read The Phone Book. He's just like fantastic and everything. So yeah, this is of the ones I still have yet to see. I think this is gonna go higher on my list now.
Yeah, one of the screenwriters, Ted Griffith, he did write Ocean's 11, the remake in 2001, so it's got some of that fun stylist energy that you probably associate with a Coen Brothers film.
Cool. Yeah,
what was the last
I
one?
will not bid though.
I think I did $20, so
Oh gosh, $30.
that's the thing. It's like it for you, this is your last bid and your last bit of money cash. For me, it's like, it's not even about the cash. It's like, do I really want it? Because I think the one thing I was maybe a little thrown off was the ending and what happens. I'm not going to spoil it, but Brian, you know what I'm talking about the ending and like what it's all meant to be about. And
Yeah.
I don't know how I've always felt about that. Like, I understood it in theory, but I don't know if I liked the execution necessarily. It felt a little abrupt or quick, or maybe am I just reading too much into it?
No, I agree. I definitely get that sentiment too. Like, the ending, admittedly, like it was a little conflicted for me. Like, after I sat with the movie for a couple of hours, I'm like, oh, okay, I get what they were going for with it, and I kind of vibed with it. But I totally understand if someone is like, didn't really do it for me.
Can we just like spout off some of Nicolas Cage's funniest lines in the movie till we find a number we're good to bid at? You said $30.
Yeah.
I'll go $35. What was wrong? What you did? You're a nosy Parker, is what you are. You're a nosy Parker. Oh boy.
Oh my god. It's bullshit. No bullshit. And watch your mouth at the table.
Oh man. I just
God, it's so good. $40.
Obviously Nicolas Cage is a meme, but I think this was still a period where Nicolas Cage was not doing it ironically. Like, he was like kind of just doing his thing, his manic energy, without it being like him and the know-how of the joke. Like nowadays when Nicolas Cage is in on the joke, it kind of feels less authentic. It kind of feels less funny for some reason. But like when you see him in this or Bad Lieutenant, where I don't know what drugs he was on. Yes, exactly.
Just him being a genuine lunatic.
Shoot him again. His soul's dancing.
God.
Yeah, his soul's dancing. Whatever drugs he was on, like that's the era of Nicolas Cage I love, where he just went into every single role, or like Vampire's Kiss, like he just didn't care. He just gave himself to the role, or Wicker Man. It's like nowadays when Nicolas Cage is in on the joke, I'm like, it was more funny when you just kind of believed in the roles too seriously to not take it less seriously. You said 45?
Or
40?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go $50.
$51.
You can have it. So conflicted about the ending, but no, you can have it. Again, I'm just happy we could just riff on Nick Cage's quotes from this movie. He's so fun in this movie. I love it.
Wow. So I ended up with $4 remaining. Honestly, I'm very happy with that, because if you had taken Matchstick Men, I don't know what I would have drafted, quite frankly, because there's still so many blind spots of mine from Ridley Scott, and I'm like, I don't want to draft a film I haven't seen. That's just not fair.
I mean, you have $4. I think that's the amount he has left by the end of this film. Is $4. You'll know it when you see it. So.
Yeah, Veronica, you gotta watch this. It's really good.
Definitely.
Does Nicolas Cage have a movie coming out this year? Because if so, a Nicolas Cage draft would honestly be kind of fun to do.
So many movies.
I
Oh
mean,
my
he had
God.
that Spider Noir show. I don't know what else he's got in the
Yeah.
pipeline.
Let's
probably.
see. Let's live fact check on air. Nicolas
Yeah, live
Cage
fact.
filmography. He's doing the John Madden movie from David O. Russell.
Oh, that's
Ugh.
right. The
Oh
John
yeah,
Madden.
yeah.
He's caked in makeup in that. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, not really. None of my buzzwords are in that.
Yeah. No, David O. Russell's not in your lexicon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though Christian Bale is, that's your guy, Veronica.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got an intervention on Bale. Him and David O. Russell, they need to separate.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, like come on, Bale. You should be so much smarter with that. Okay, Paul, back to you. What is going to be, I guess, your final film on your team?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I don't think I can outbid him, so.
I mean, maybe, who knows, if you want to. You can certainly try. This was the one historical epic I really wanted to get. And who knows, maybe this might be the key to winning the draft because there's a lot of fans of this movie. It's only grown in popularity over the years.
I know what you're going with.
I am talking about Ridley Scott's 2005 Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut, not the theatrical cut, the director's cut.
Should I put that when I make the graphics? Should I write Kingdom of Heaven or Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut?
Director's cut probably helps emphasize is because the story is Kingdom of Heaven was released without 45 minutes of footage, which people hated, and for good reason, because it doesn't make any sense when you watch it. The director's cut actually restores the movie to being a coherent, genuine masterpiece of a film, or at least close to a masterpiece of a film for me. Or however the graphics work out. I'll let you dilly-dally, Brian. You know, that's just some like it real, you know? Like, people can investigate which one I like is when they listen to this episode.
Fair enough.
Do your own research.
But no, I mean, Kingdom of Heaven is one of those strange movies where it is probably my favorite historical epic because it has the grand epic scope of Gladiator. It has the technical craftsmanship we associate with Ridley Scott, but it's such a deep and sprawling epic about religion, fanaticism, of cults, of just kind of the this kind of holy war that's been happening for so many centuries, that, you know, in the aftermath of, you know, post 9/11 world in America, in which the Middle East still was discombobulated and in turbulent chaos once again. To have this film come out in 2005, also written by William Monahan, the writer of The Departed, interestingly enough, that's such a weird combination of that, but it just feels like, obviously it's not historically accurate because Ridley Scott doesn't care about historical accuracy, but it's such an engaging, just well-made drama epic, and so many great, I mean, Orlando Bloom, I think this is one of my favorite performances of his. He's really subdued as this like Balin character who just kind of gets swept up in this crusades of trying to fight for the Holy Land and trying to fight Saladin in the crusades. It's such a vast epic film that I just can't, like, when you watch a director's cut, it feels like you're watching something magical. Like, if this was released in theaters today, it kind of would almost maybe have the same success as the Odyssey, maybe not, but because it just feels like a classic throwback epic to what we loved beforehand, like with Nolan's Odyssey. So it kind of would be wonderful to have this be shown in theaters, the director's cut, because yes, it's long, it's 3 hours long, but it's the most gratifying 3 hours ever, because when you watch a theatrical cut, it's such a waste of time because 45 minutes of footage is literally stripped away. The studio did that because they wanted to make it more appealing, and it's just the most incoherent movie you'll ever watch. And then when you watch a director's cut, it makes so much sense. Like, a lot of the plot elements, character dynamics, Ava Green has such a juicy character in the director's cut that's completely stripped away in the theatrical cut. Edward Norton has a very fun, you know, non-credited role. I just love his performance. And shout out to the guy who plays Saladin. I want to get Ghassan Masad, who plays Saladin, who's the leader of the Saracens in the Crusades. I just think he is tremendously incredible in this film. And actors, when you have Brendan Gleeson and Orlando Bloom and Jeremy Irons, it's just so cool to see him kind of step up and make his presence known. So, whatever, Veronica, I don't know how much money you got left. I guess we'll do $1 less than your budget.
Yeah, I'm at 150 right now.
So 149.
I'm not going to bid on this. I am very, very, aware of all the controversy and the production and everything, but I have not actually seen it. So this is not one for me. But yeah, like everything you said about it, definitely seems like something worth checking out, and I will do the proper cut as well.
Yeah, this is also one that I haven't seen either. And I know that they did a one night only theatrical run for the director's cut a year ago. And I really wanted to see it, but I remember it just screened at like not a convenient time for me. It was like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, I work till 5 o'clock. This isn't fair. Like I wouldn't be able to make it. And I was really bummed because I had really wanted to see this and I had heard for years that this is the definitive cut to watch. And listen, I'm sure I will still very much like watching the movie at home, but there's something very special about watching something like this on the big screen. And yeah, I've always wanted to check it out, and I definitely will be checking it out very, very soon, hopefully. So, yeah, I kind of had a feeling that you were going to get this on your team, Paul.
Yeah, it's this again. This is where I went with my heart instead of my brain. Because sure, I could have tried to outbid you on Alien, which I was almost tempted to do, but I wanted Kingdom of Heaven on my draft list because I don't know if anyone else was going to champion it, and so also just a great Brandon Gleeson villainous performance. He's so despicable as Renaud. Like and he has a good comeuppance in this movie. It's a really I'll say it's historically accurate in some sense. It's kind of fun to see that in a Ridley Scott movie as well. Sometimes he does get it right, but yeah, Kingdom of Heaven, highly recommend. There's a 3-disc version of it out with the director's cut. Highly recommend that. But I also think it's on YouTube for some reason. I think someone uploaded it on YouTube and hasn't really been taken down. So if you wanted to watch it, but I think it's such a great, cool movie that this came out of the studio system, like especially in post 9/11 world, where obviously tensions between the Eastern and Western world are still hot right now today. But especially back then, when you consider the political dynamics, the fact this film came out, and it was somewhat disappointing by box office wise, but I think it's really cool. Ridley Scott managed to, and that's why I love him as a director. He'll just put his name to any script that's available for him to shoot. As long as it's ready, we're good for production. Let's do it. I'll commit a year of my life to this, and I kind of love that about it. I think that's what we've discovered about these films, whether it's about Thelma and Louise, Kingdom of Heaven, Matchstick Men. If it's ready, good to go to production, all right, I'll do it. I just want to make a movie.
Yeah, he toes that line between like workman director and auteur. Like he kind of has a hand in both.
Totally.
All right. So that was your final pick, Paul. Now for my final pick of my team and the draft. Like you said, I'm similar to you, Brian. I'm not like I said, I don't feel too passionately about anything else that's left. I'm gonna take one. I think it caught some strays from you both before, and I have not rewatched it recently, but I do remember enjoying myself. I'm gonna go ahead and take Robin Hood, because I like I said, have not rewatched all that recently, so you know, with a grain of salt. But of course, I watched this because Oscar Isaac is in it, and he looks incredible in it. He's probably like probably the best performance. I think Russell Crowe's a little overshadowed at the center here. So yeah, I think that it's at the time I think it was kind of seen as like this, you know, grim, dour action movie, which I guess in that time it was considered that way, but that's kind of been the vibe ever since then. And to me, this is just kind of like we said, Ridley Scott doesn't do anything small. It's like a big scale movie with, you know, a lot of like big sets, big action pieces, a lot of extras. Like it just feels like a real movie, like a lot of his does. But yeah, I think that this one, you know, it's got Cate Blanchett in supporting role, ton of other people in the cast. Again, I'm not riding hard for it. It's probably like a 3.5 movie, but I remember enjoying myself, and I probably enjoyed it more than The Death of Robin Hood this year. I was thinking about it when that came out, which that one didn't click for me for whatever reason. But yeah, I'll take Robin Hood here for how much money do I have left? I've got 150. I don't know, $50.
I was waiting for you to match my $1 for Counselor. $1 for Robin Hood.
No, the Counselor should have that distinction.
Found in the bargain bin of $1 Walmart bins. Yeah.
Another one that I haven't seen. Can't comment on this one, despite the fact that literally last night, time of recording, we recorded a pod where I drafted a film starring Cate Blanchett, and I said that she's literally like my favorite human being in the world. And even she couldn't convince me to watch this movie, nor could Oscar Isaac, sadly. But, you know, the Robin Hood story just never has done anything for me. I don't even really like the Disney Robin Hood movie, quite frankly. I've never really liked the Robin Hood story. For some reason, this is a story that's been adapted many times. Actually, no, that's not true, because I do love Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Prince of Thieves.
I do love that movie. That's the only one that I like. But I also am just a big fan of Kevin Costner. Kevin C, that's my guy. But this one, nah. Sorry, Russell C, you couldn't do it for me.
I remember seeing this. I just couldn't tell you anything about it because this was like the era where I was just seeing any movie I could in the theater, and this was also PG-13, so I didn't have to show my ID or anything for this, like, because I wasn't old enough to go to R-rated stuff. But I remember seeing it. I just can't tell you much about it. My favorite Robin Hood is in Shrek when Princess Fiona kicks Robin Hood's ass and all of his merry little men.
The singing and everything.
Yeah. That's my favorite Robin Hood, when he's just told, like, when Fiona's like, man, that was annoying. It's like, yeah, I feel you, Fiona. I feel
Oh
you.
my god. So
Fair
fun.
enough, yeah.
And I still haven't even seen The Death of Robin Hood either.
Apparently, the Andrew Garfield movie upcoming, is that also another Robin Hood
I
movie?
saw that. I'm
Really?
interested to see if that's really the case, because if that's the case, maybe we'll finally have a Robin Hood movie that works for me.
Maybe.
Maybe this time.
If there's anyone that's going to convince it, it's going to be Andy G.
Yeah, Andy G.
Yeah, I don't know. This again, it's nothing fantastic, but it also is 2010. It's kind of like at the start of Game of Thrones and everything. I feel like it has like a little bit of that DNA.
The
even
year
though
before Game of Thrones, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all of that was in the air. So yeah, it's a decent one from what I remember.
But like, God, what a cast! Oh my God! Again,
Yeah.
Ridley assembling these cool ass casts like Crow,
I'm sure people just want to work with him. Like,
Oscar
they'll probably just do
Isaac,
anything.
William Hurt, Mark Strachan, Mark Addy. Speaking of Game of Thrones, Danny Houston, Matthew McFadden, Max von Sydow, Léa Seydoux. What? Luke Evans? Oh my God, Ralph Ineson.
I think that's the thing with the Ridley Scott. Like, you're not going to be in production hell, or it's going to be a nightmare to work with. It's just like, this is going to be a clean production, in, out, fits my schedule, and then we're done with it. And then I'll see you at the premiere. Like, I feel like that's what it is for a lot of great actors. Even if the material is probably not there on the page. Like, I'm sure for, like, pour one out for Hannibal, when I'm not sure if any actor working on that film set was like thinking this is going to be the greatest thing ever, but they still showed up, did their cues, said their lines, hit their cues, and then they're at the premiere a couple months later. So
I thought Veronica was going to put that as her final pick.
Oh, Hannibal.
Yeah.
I've seen it once. I was like, what was going on there?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
have much memory of it.
what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I just want to give a shout out to All the Money in the World for Ridley Scott being able to remove Kevin Spacey and insert Christopher Plummer 3-4 months before release, and he still hit the
Not
release
even
date
that.
without
It was
delay.
like 6 weeks before it came out.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, 6 weeks,
Like,
and then it just
that's
came
insane.
out on
That was
schedule.
crazy.
I
He's a
remember when that
workhorse,
whole
man.
thing happened and that came out. I'm like, how are they gonna do that? Like, how are they gonna? I'm like, oh, they have to push it back at that rate. No, they kept it on its release date. I'm like, that's insane. And then Christopher Plummer got nominated for an Oscar.
Nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's, oh, that's so crazy.
Ridley Scott literally just said, "Hold my beer, and I'll just do this magic trick," and he just reshot the whole movie.
Insane. And the fact that I think he was already 80 at that point. I'm like, dude, that's just that's
Workhorse.
crazy. So baller.
He loves to work.
All right, we did it, guys. We drafted Ridley Scott films, so now we are just going to recap our teams and talk about how much money we spent on them. So, Veronica, kick us off.
So I got Gladiator for $200, Thelma and Louise for $450, The Martian for $200, and Robin Hood for $50.
Paul?
I got The Counselor for a nice steal of $1, Black Hawk Down for $150, Blade Runner for $500, and Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut, for $149.
The most expensive and the cheapest movie. You got it all.
Great strategy. I got Alien for $460, The Last Duel for $350, American Gangster for $135, and Matchstick Men for $51.
All right. We mentioned a few, but any other honorable mentions?
Prometheus, I think, is very underrated. I think a lot of people give that movie a bad rep. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And I also
I
like
think it's
Alien Covenant. Not as much as Prometheus, but I do enjoy that one. Particularly for the line of Michael Fassbender going, sleep tight, don't let the bed bug spike, I'll tuck in the children.
I'll do the fingering. Yeah.
And
Michael
I do love a
Fassbender's
movie where we
great.
get two Michael Fassbenders. Like,
Yeah. We get duos Michael Fassbender. No, he's great in the Prometheus and Alien Covenant movies. I wish they were able to continue that, but obviously they weren't. At least Covenant wasn't successful, so they kind of redid it.
And other than
revamped
that, that's it for me in terms of honorable mentions.
Yeah, I remember Body of Lies for Oscar Isaac looking hot.
He's in that
I
too?
remember,
Yeah, he's in that too.
Oh my God.
Great Sweater.
He got to work with Leo. That's awesome.
That's about the extent of that movie I remember. I know that I watched Black Rain a long time ago. Also, I kind of just remember Andy Garcia looking hot. So yeah, unfortunately, that's the extent of my contribution. Of the recent movies, I didn't hate Napoleon. It didn't really do anything for me. It for being so epic and ambitious, it was a little bit forgettable. And kind of same with Gladiator 2, which if I didn't have the original Gladiator, I probably would have drafted that one just to talk about the Denzel performance, which is a knockout.
Yeah.
It's like that brings that movie up like 10 notches.
He's
but,
awesome in that movie.
Yeah, but nothing else really.
Yeah,
Paul,
I would
any
agree.
honorable mentions?
Yeah, I was actually gonna agree. I don't hate Napoleon or Gladiator 2, but they're like disappointing shadows of what we kind of know from Ridley Scott. Other than the stuff we talked about, shout out to G.I. Jane for an iconic moment at the Oscars. Never forget you, Demi Moore.
Wow, dude, it was a G.I. Jane joke.
Yeah. Also, for some reason, I was just gonna pull him up here. Viggo Mortensen, unbelievably hot in this movie. Like if you ever watched G.I. Jane, he is incredibly hot.
Oh, let me look those up.
Literally look those up.
Let's see. Oh yeah, saving that for later.
Likely place for him to be, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
saving that for later.
Like just picture him that, and then he eats a whole giant pizza pie in Green Book. It's like that's the same dude.
Yes. Oh my God, look at that mustache! Wow.
Yeah, he's rocking that mustache.
Oh man. Wow.
That was 97, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, JJ's pretty fun. It's a fun movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun little genre romp, and Demi Moore's also pretty badass in it. But yeah, that's all the shout outs I have.
Not a fan of A Good Year, Paul?
I haven't seen that one. There's some blind spots I've Ridley Scott, like 1492 I haven't seen.
A
Black
Good
Squalls.
Year, I think you brought up that you think Matchstick Men is like the most un-Ridley Scott movie that Ridley Scott has directed. A Good Year does not sound Ridley Scott at all.
When I see the poster, you're probably right. It doesn't look like
it just looks like
It looks
a
like
rom
Eat, Pray,
com
Love or something.
like again, another powerhouse cast like Russell Crowe, Marion Cotillard, Freddie Highmore, Albert Finney. Oh,
I wish I had this dude's work ethic at 30 years old than he has like in his 80s. Like it's
Jesus.
insane.
Making a movie about like wine country and everything, a vineyard. It's like, buddy, he probably just watched Sideways and he's like, now I want to make a movie about
Literally,
wine.
like he just asked his agent, "Give me a script that has so and so elements in it, and is it ready for production? Like, do I need to do edits on it? Because I can't. I don't have time to waste. Time's ticking. I gotta make a movie."
Oh, that's crazy. Before we conclude, I wanted to just ask, like, briefly, how excited are we for the Dog Stars? Because I have to be honest, my excitement has kind of fizzled out big time. Although I really do love Jacob Elordi. I love him very much, and I'm happy that he's headlining a bunch of films. But I don't know, this just looks like another dud from Ridley. But I'm really hoping I'm wrong.
I don't know, man. Sure. Like, that's the thing. Is like I wish I could be passionate about Dog Stars because it has a great cast and it's a new Ridley Scott movie, but the trailers have done nothing but dissuade me from being interested in it. I feel this feels like something I would see on Amazon Prime or Netflix.
Yeah, like we've talked about, he makes movies, so hopefully it's going to be elevated. But yeah, I agree. From the trailers and stuff, definitely looks like more streaming fare. But I think we can expect a certain amount of quality, at least from the filmmaking and everything. So I'm intrigued by it.
I sure hope it's not bad. Like, if it's entertaining to a degree, I'll be happy. But if it's boring as fuck, then that will be a problem for me. Nothing is worse than when a movie is boring. for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think we did it. I think that covers it. That concludes our Ridley Scott auction draft. Be sure to vote on our Twitter and Instagram.
And with that, that is a wrap on today's episode of Some Like It Real. Thank you all for joining us. If you're interested in following along our journey, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Bryan Sudfield.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Vera Albarella and on Letterboxd at Alba_real_A.
And massive thank you to Paul for joining us today. This was so much fun drafting alongside you. Paul, where can the listeners find you?
You can find me listening to my heart and my brain on Twitter at Paul S. Rai and on Letterboxd at Paul Rai.
Go give Paul a follow. Links will be in the description. And you can follow the show on all socials at Some Like It Real, as well as on YouTube at Some Like It Real. Be sure to subscribe and share it around. And tune in every Monday and Thursday for a new episode of Some Like It Real on podcast platforms.
We'll see you next time.